Hey everybody, it's the Bennington Show on a Friday. We call it Friday in this business. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. This is my return to radio after my retirement. And I just got to say, so great to be back here with the old gang.
I'm so glad to have you. I know that things are going well for you with your other business. And
you know what's fun to come back and see you guys? And first of all, the fact that we would all come back for this reunion means a lot. I did not realize how much weight everybody was going to put on.
Yeah.
Well, we were so sad that you had left.
It was a sad time.
And that's how I feel good. That's my medicine.
Cheese is a medicine, and I believe anybody would back me up on that with a medical degree, which I would fucking have right now if it wasn't the prejudice of what goes on in this country with the medical association. Oh, you have to have a college degree before you can get your doctorate. Bullshit. That's why there aren't many doctors. I feel like I could doctor as good as anybody in this country, and I could operate right now. Why? Because I'm able to drive stick shift. And if you could do that, you could easily do a brain operation. And when I say stick shift, automatic is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Why would I go back in time? Oh, there's a motor on the boat? I'll use the rows anyway. No, I'm not going to fucking use that. I know they're called oars and not rows. I made a mistake. I haven't been in the city for a while. Chris, you explained to me that my entire life is a clusterfuck, and it is true. So let's jump into this today. By the way, over the weekend, you can hear Hell Gigs, hosted by Ron and Gail Bennington. It premieres this Saturday, 6 o'clock East on Raw Dog. Replays all weekend long. Over 2 comedians talking about their Hell Gigs. Chris, did we add this name back in after you guys fucked up the recording?
No, I didn't. That was a mistake on my part.
I love the way he says didn't. Do you know how you say it, right?
No, how I say it?
No, I didn't.
No,
you know,
I
it says
didn't.
It's
D-I-N-T.
And don't you change it because I love it. You stay with that. Is that an inflection or is that an accent when you do that?
I suppose it is, yeah.
I haven't let Chris have any of the Altoids that I offered everybody
Yeah,
else.
everyone got one.
You know
That's
how much
really-
I like Altoids.
They're not a candy, Chris.
I know that, but they still taste good.
He treats them like they're sucking candy.
You know what? These will be sitting here from when we go to commercial
I just
break.
want to suck on
I don't
them.
want to hear them on the air. You're disgusting on the air when you suck on stuff.
I'll suck quietly.
Chris.
You made a weird face when you said that,
I
too.
know.
Your face is always weird.
Good one. That's a good comeback.
Yeah,
He didn't get
looks
you.
like shit.
You're the fucking best counterpuncher, and you're also the best counter worker that we have right here.
He works the register so good. And
Paper or plastic? I always go like this. Can't I get both?
I don't know who in their right mind takes paper.
People that care about the environment, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I actually use neither.
Canvas?
That's right. I bring my canvas bag. Why? Because I'm a snowflake bitch. That's why.
What I do is just tie off my pant legs and say, just dump it down here. It'll be fine.
Don't worry. These are all for me anyway.
Put these in my sombrero. I only do that if I'm buying peanuts and I look like Bill Murray. I saw that. I know you got stuff you want to get to today, but I just want to say this quick. I saw this article talking about different people, and Bill Murray's name came up and said he can't be a happy person because the amount of movies where he's such a cranky, terrible person and then something good happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at a certain point, they're like, let's just believe that he's not happy.
He can't be.
But a lot of comedians, as they get older, their go-to seems to be cranky guy.
Yeah, I think it's something that you age into.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just, if you're a comic and then that lifestyle just lends itself to becoming a cranky older person.
Or were they always just sad but much more fuckable? Talk amongst yourselves now as I just drop the fucking mic on that.
That's fuckable.
By the way, did you see this TV show called Drop the Mic that looks exactly like Roast Battle but with a rap?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Is that based on the James Corden?
Well, he's producing it.
Yeah.
I did see a commercial for that.
But doesn't it look like Roast Battle ripoff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's the point?
Except this one, I don't think they write their own freestyle raps. That's just my own opinion.
No, they definitely don't. they don't. But also, when you see a celebrity on a celebrity roast, they're not writing that either. The other night when I did Roast Battle, Louis J. Gomez is like, we want to do something different because we want this to go 3 rounds. So don't give us your scores of each round until the end. And we're like, how can we remember? And he goes, well, you could write it down. And Big J is just screaming at him, I don't have a fucking pen, Louis, because I don't have a pen. So when we would come back to it, I go, so like everyone is mad at him, like he's like, because they have like the same judges every week and then a guest judge. So Boss and Jay are saying to him, when did you get this idea? He goes, like about a week ago. Why couldn't you have brought it up then? And then we could be sitting around working this out. Why are we arguing in front of the audience? And I go, what if we just give a nickel to the person that we like and then count it up? And he's like, no, we're not doing
Just
that.
Just count the change at the end of the night.
Count the change at the end of the night. And Jay's like, do they hold the nickels out in their hands while they're working? And Louis is like, we're not doing the fucking nickels. We were never doing the nickels. So we're not supposed to say. So right off the bat, Boss is like, I think Mark was better, you know? And then we're all like, you're not supposed to tell anybody. And then it got to me and I'm like, one of you did much better than the other person. And they will be getting a nickel. But remember, the dime round is coming up next. Oh. And that's the 20. And Louis is like, there's no dime round. So I ran into somebody who, I guess, watched it on Periscope or whatever, and they were saying that was their favorite thing that they ever saw. But I noticed that it wasn't going over that big in-house because people were like just confused of like, how is this a show?
Are we going to have to count the change?
Yeah, we were going into that. And I go, let's just do a Canadian round, and then it's, loonies if you do well, and then toonies if you do twice that good. We're not doing a fucking Canadian round. There's never been change attached with this. Because I'm going, do we just go back to American change then? I talk about what you wanted to talk about.
So up on the iBang, there's an article that Regal Cinemas is now going to test this new idea where they're going to be offering lower ticket prices for flop movies and higher ticket prices for the big blockbuster hits. So if a movie is doing poorly, the ticket prices will drop in order to get people to be more likely to come to that particular film.
So is this like saying Burt fries half price?
Yes.
I don't know. See, look, I can understand Star Wars, you want $15, right?
Yeah.
Why should it be $15 for Big Sick, though? You know what I mean? That's not a flop movie, but let's face it, you're not putting as much money into that movie. We should be able to see it on our savings.
Like you think not even flop or
smaller
hit.
movies, smaller prices.
Yeah, but like based on their own personal budget, they're like, look, this is an expensive movie. If you were buying an expensive piece of jewelry, it's going to be more expensive. There's not one price.
If it's a flop movie, I want to be paid to see it. Right. I don't want to see a flop movie. A flop movie means it stinks, right?
No, well, no, because Blade Runner was like a flop, but that's not necessarily a bad movie. It was just that the audience wasn't there for it.
It was not a flop in terms of what we thought it was. It's what they projected it to be.
Right.
So they're losing money, right? So why would they want to take even less money to have people go see it?
I guess their idea is this is in a world where people walk up to the movies and go, what do I want to see tonight? I could see a Star Wars. I guess I would, but look, this one's a little cheaper, and I kind of heard that it was good.
I doubt that anyone does that.
This is the idea. That's what they're living in a world where people just want to go to the movies, not to a particular movie.
And that would be a child, right? So just don't even put anything on the screen and let kids go in there and run around and do whatever they want. They're just using it as a party house.
You walk in and it's like a stock market ticker. And you go in and the movies are like going up and down.
Give me, I mean, to see if this makes sense, is there a movie out there today that you would go see if it's less money? Because that's not my experience.
Tell me what is out right now, and I would tell you if I would take a lower ticket price.
Medea Halloween 2.
Nope.
Not happening.
Not happening.
The Galo Storm, not happening. You're going to next week, so we don't know whether we got flops or not. Chris, you want to go in the other fucking direction. Why are you going so crazy
Go to
fast?
the front page.
Like, these movies are either... Just forget it. All right, what else is out there today? What else is going on? Because I think my way is much smarter, that smaller movies, smaller prices.
Right.
Flop movies no one is going to see for hook nor crook.
Now, if you had an opportunity to have less for Geostorm,
no,
would you go to see it?
How cheap?
All right, so let's say
the dollar movie. I'm not going to Geostorm.
All right, let's say
we used to have dollar movies.
Dollar movie, I might be willy-nilly with what I'm spending. Just because, like, I don't go to the movie sometimes because it's like $16 for everything. So a dollar movie to see a shitty one?
Well, you know they're not going to do dollar. It's going to be a $12 movie. I'm saying in the old days,
right?
There would be, and this would be, the reason why we don't do this now is because it's too close to the on-demand. It was basically the world's version of on-demand. On-demand is never a matter of price for me. It's a matter of, do I want to sit through this shit? And I think the same is true of Geostorm. You either want to see it or you don't.
Yeah. And there are things that you'll see for convenience.
There's your Sketcher thing from yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yesterday, she said she could never have anything on the floor. And her free Skechers, which is
floor.
almost a $7 in savings.
I could go for a cheap movie for that.
I would wait a few weeks to see a movie and wait for it to flop to go see it for cheaper.
See, but that's horrible, because then you're wishing for it to fail.
Flops happen.
I'm going to start rooting again. This thing could be bad because then people might start like rooting for flops so they could go see cheaper movies.
Never is anybody going to be like you. The Star Wars people want to go see Star Wars, right? When the Oscar thing comes out, it's much smaller, but those people want to go see the movie.
Particularly a movie like that, where you know everyone's going to go see it. It'd be worth it for you to spend $5 more, see it the weekend that it came out, and not get it spoiled for you.
But by the way, a friend of mine was saying how great he thought 12 Years a Slave was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last night. So I didn't care for it. He starts screaming at me. He goes, how could you not like that movie? What more would you want from a movie? I go, I want to be a slave for 14 years. Is that okay? But just because, like, it's a heartbreaking thing, like, if it's about the Holocaust or slavery, it doesn't mean I have to just judge it based on that.
Doesn't
and not
mean
whether I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think 12 Years a Slave was a good movie.
Doesn't mean you like slavery.
No. I wasn't like, I was sad when the slaves got away. I really felt bad. That cotton is going to rot in the field. But I didn't think it was a well-made movie.
I actually didn't see it because I thought the title said it all. And I was like, it's not, I'm going to be honest, there's not many times I'm in a mood to watch 12 Years a Slave.
This frustrated me from the beginning, right? So the two slaves, they live upstate Pennsylvania, right? They're not slaves. They got great. They're just like anybody else. They're living around Nyack. They're like, this is so great, you know, being free black people, and we have jobs and people get, you know. So it starts like, I don't know if New York was that nice already from the get. Then they go, I want to go down to D.C. to do something, but I have to travel through Virginia to get there. I'm worried because they have slaves.
Yeah, don't.
The lone white person yelling out in the movie, was screaming, don't go to D.C. Don't fucking risk this thing.
That's like in a horror movie when you see somebody run upstairs instead of going out the front door. Don't do it.
What would you do if you were being chased by like a Jason or something?
I'd go out a window
I
in
would.
a second.
If it was Jason chasing me, I'd have on another hockey mask that I would put on, and I would yell at him, "They're going this way." You know what I mean? Just thinking that he would think that I was with him. All right, what else is there to talk about today? We've already been through so many unbelievable topics.
So I saw that there was this thing that at the American Museum of Natural History, they're doing away with the gem room.
They are.
Yes, so they're gonna redo it, and like their idea is that they're gonna do a modern version, something for the modern day audience.
Well, the gem room is very boring to me.
I love the gem room, and I feel like it is a place of peace. Like it's always
because you're alone in there.
I love it in there, and like, it's very chill. The way the gems are all lit up, like it just makes me think about just like field trips when you were a kid, and just like.
So what are they going to make it look like, a jewelry store?
I don't know how they're going to.
They're going to call it the bling room.
I don't know how they're going to make it modern, but it's very dim in there.
Chris turned right there. Oh no, this is the only thing I like. I like the big meteorite.
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
I don't think I've ever been to this room before.
What?
I've never been to this room either.
You guys have
you live on the Upper West Side.
I've been to the museum tons of times. I don't, and I would go to this room.
By the way, it's a fairly empty room because it's the ugly rocks.
I'm not going to lie. It's one of my favorite spots.
You better see it soon.
I know. I think I will.
But if they modernize it, like they let you like start touching the rocks and stuff, I'd be into that.
That's not what modern is.
Yes,
They're not going to let you touch like $1 million jewel.
No, let me get in there.
He likes those things that they take first graders to.
Oh yeah, like
with the fucking
the Liberty
sniff and rub fucking museums.
Dude, there was one that when I was a kid called the Hands-On Museum that was in Florida that I was obsessed with, like the level of excitement of the Hands-On Museum, because they had a couple different features there. Everything you could touch, everything was kind of science related, but they had this thing called the touch tunnel that was sensory deprivation, like devoid of light, and you had to climb through it, and it was like panic attack inducing because it gets really small and kids are crying in there.
You know how many kids have suffocated in that thing?
I'm sure, because kids freak out in there.
Did you guys see Roland and Paul on the Tonight Show? That little
I didn't
thing was
see
there.
it.
There was a meme going around of those two guys. I wanted Vito to be the third one of those. You know what I mean? Because they have a group and they book a lot of stuff. I'm like, Vito, get yourself in that social gang, and he cannot do it.
I mean, we hang out sometimes.
Really? Did they take you to the Tonight Show with them?
They only had 2 tickets.
I bet you found out about it when everyone else did by watching the Tonight Show.
No, they told me they were. I knew they were going to Jimmy Fallon.
Did you? Did you, Vito?
Yes, I did.
Here, Chris, here's.
You finally
remember,
get
this
here.
comes to you at the commercial.
You were picking up the head to
Yeah,
me.
but I was letting you know what
He's
you're
letting
getting
you know that you were going to have it.
Because you're such a loud sucker.
I'll suck quiet.
What would you rather have? One now or 3 at commercial?
One now.
Oh my God, he's really
Take
weird.
your one.
He is really weird how he does that.
Thank you. You can trust me too. I could try.
Why did he go for the far one? Like there was two mints on the thing, and he reached over one that was closer to him and went to the farther mint.
What do you care what mint
But that's
he
just
takes?
a weird thing to do.
There's no right way to decide between 2 mints.
It just doesn't make sense that you'd reach over
I
the
just
other
feel
mint.
like you pick at everything that he does.
I
here.
just think what he did was weird.
He is, Ron. You know why? Because
I can't hear you. Your mouth is filled with mint.
Hold on.
You
it's
said
good.
you'd quietly suck.
It was 1/8 of an inch between the fucking mints.
It's just weird to
I
reach
wasn't
over a
reaching
mint.
over
It isn't
anything.
weird.
I think it's bizarre to go, like, 2 things are here that are identical to go.
Wait, so if I said I have 2 bagels here, you would just choose the closer bagel.
If they were identical to each
How do
other,
you know they're identical?
those 2 mints were
No
identical.
2 mints are the same. I could take you through this whole thing. There's different sizes. There's different indentations. Some of these I rubbed them on nuts.
Don't take that one.
They should make a mint room in the.
Is this meteorite a square? It came down like a cube?
I think they might have cut it from a larger
Okay.
thing.
I feel better about that.
It's too uniform. You know, I feel like they should have like the biggest one possible they can throw in there. Like that'd be great.
Why? Because it's New York, they're going to get the biggest? They don't get the biggest of anything.
Probably split between probably 3 different museums got a piece of the meteorite.
You went too deep into this.
I was just trying to figure out why it's a cube.
I can't believe the two of you have lived in New York City your whole life and you've never been here.
Very rarely did the schools take us to museums from what I can remember.
You're an adult now. Have you been to the planetarium?
I've not. No, not.
It's an unbelievable sight, and for you not to go there is amazing to you.
Yeah, I've been to the museum a ton of times. I've been to the planetarium.
You haven't even been in this room?
I've not been to that one room, but I've been in a lot
Jen,
of other
have you
rooms.
been to the planetarium?
I have, yeah.
Loved it?
Loved it. And I want to go to this room now.
Who was the speaker? You got to get there soon. Was it Tom Hanks doing the voiceover when you were there?
I think it was.
Yeah.
That's who was with me.
Is
too.
it, and I think Neil deGrasse Tyson does something for it now, too,
Well,
right?
he runs that. That's
Yeah.
his thing. So, he probably was the guy who booked Tom Hanks.
But yeah, the first time I went there, well, there was 2 that was just floored me. And then I was like misty the entire time because I had read Catcher in the Rye before I ever moved to New York. And then I came here and then was walking where there was like the cavemen and all the animals. And I was like, this is in the book. And it was like making me tearing up because I was thinking like I could imagine like Holden and Phoebe like walking through the hall.
Yeah. And Chris hasn't. No. He hasn't been to the planetarium. He hasn't been to that. Have you even been to Radio City for their Christmas show? Oh my God.
Never.
It's across the street from you.
The way he had to think about
Yes.
I used the bathroom there once, but I didn't actually go into the show.
But you've never even been to Radio City. This isn't just. You've never been to Radio City at all.
I've never been inside Radio City.
That's disgusting.
Why are you disgusting? Why can't we have a
Well,
thing
what about the
without judgment?
gem? What about the gem room? I was disgusted at you, but
Yeah.
you didn't see me pointing it out.
Because Radio City is just I love Radio City. I don't think Radio City gets the love it deserves from people.
What are you, crazy? That Christmas show runs 9 times a day. There isn't a fucking show in the world like that. My favorite thing is when it's around Christmas, you walk past the back of Radio City and there's doors up and there's just people smoking outside and all their Christmas. You know what I mean?
And there's like feathers and costumes.
Yeah,
And
and you just look over there and there's Joseph and he's having a smoke. And he just has this fucking look on his eyes like, I can't believe how many shows I got to do here every day. Chris,
Yes.
you got to, you and your girlfriend this year, it's so fucking romantic.
I'm Jewish now, though. I can't go.
Jews love Christmas, dude.
I'm telling you, my Jewish friends love Christmas way more than any of my non-Jew friends. It's so strange.
This is how, not only do Jews love Christmas, they adore Christmas music. And I think the reason why they love it is none of the bad side of Christmas is on them.
They have
it's
all
just
the good.
fun side. Like, this would be like if it was Halloween, but you actually had to dig graves, right? That's what, and like if, for people who don't have to live like that, they're like, oh, I love Halloween. It's fun.
I remember once my friend Meredith was like, you guys have the best music. It's so good. Like that silent, the silent night. Oh, what a night. That's not the lyric.
Oh, what a night. A night of nights. Here's a bagel with a little schmear. Look at that baby. What's it doing here?
Oh, what a night. It's a silent night. Oh, what a night it was.
Do you know how many, first of all, people that wrote those songs that are Jewish? A lot of those songs were written by Jewish. A lot were sung. Like every Jewish performer has done their Christmas thing. Because they're not all wrapped into, hey, you're trying to put Jesus on us. They just know
They're
it's
fun.
a fun
It's
celebration.
winter. There's a fat man with presents. All the good stuff.
And it's the same way that I love a menorah and I love battling tops because they don't have to be there.
Right. You don't know the stress of getting all
What's
the
his
menorahs.
name, the guy who always wears the do-rag? Really nice guy who always talks to us. Little guy who works on building all this stuff.
I don't know his name.
I talked to him yesterday on the way down. He lives 2 hours from the city, takes a bus 2 hours to get here, 2 hours to come home.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh, that sounds rough. He goes, nope. He goes, I love it. He goes, I couldn't live anywhere else in the world. He lives way upstate. He just is surrounded by trees. He says the stars come out at night like the fucking planetarium. And I've been up there and have seen like stars where it looks like you're at a planetarium. And I actually thought to myself, maybe that should be my life. Maybe I should just be driving 2 hours each way every day and just fucking enjoying.
And he drives in?
No, he gets on a bus like a fucking animal. He says he's put in a crate and underneath the bus.
God, he likes this.
Jen, how far is your ride every day?
It's about that.
2 hours?
Yeah, these days, yeah.
Oh, because of traffic.
Yeah.
Well, it's
In the
about to get
morning.
worse. Christmas.
Oh, God, it's going to be so bad.
What time you leave your house in the morning?
I leave at like 8:15.
No, does this make you weird? I leave 11:45. Today I got out 11:45. And then I was mad because these guys went upstairs without me today. And yet I still beat Gail into this room because she stopped for a long whiz.
Yes, I had to pee very bad. And it wasn't lengthy. It was just an emergency.
I was writing back to you. I said, because you said we're going to head up. I go, we go up as a team. And then you wrote, I have to pee. And I was going to write, we pee as a team. And I'm like, no, what if she really does? I know, I don't want to count an 8 real fast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did count, by the way.
Did you, Chris? Did you count?
I did not count. I don't like to piss
You haven't
before the
been
show.
why don't you take your girl to some museums? Which a lot of these New York museums you can get into for free because you're a fucking taxpayer.
It's nice.
And take her to Radio City this year.
That would be really nice. It's like a nice date.
Is it okay? Is it good for adults? The Radio
Yes.
City.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got.
Really?
Here's what I'll say. I saw it once. I never have to see it again.
That's true.
Now,
This is a tradition.
if I had a kid in my life, if I had a cousin visiting a little niece or nephew, I would go again for them. But as an adult, I never have to go again. I've seen it.
How long is it? Like an hour?
An hour.
I'm not going to fucking sell you on this. I'm telling you, this is
Okay.
something you should do for
Do
your
you
girl.
think that they're going to do all
Okay.
that for an hour? I don't know. Maybe it's an hour.
I'm certainly not going to sell him on it. You know what I mean? And you would be getting extra Altoids, but you had to suck yours down now. I'm letting you know that there's an additional 2 Altoids you're not getting.
Now,
I'm
why-
doing a lesson.
Why do you always make that choice with less immediately?
Is it a choice? Because I don't think it is. I don't think he can help himself.
Instant gratification.
But then right now, don't you feel that feeling of going, God, I wish I had my Altoid that looking forward.
Really want more Altoids.
Everybody else would like an extra Altoid.
Oh,
Why do
yes.
they get extra Altoids?
It's great
They
because
waited.
I don't even need the mint. It's just I'm treating it as a second candy.
Yeah. Put one in your pocket then for later,
For
Jen. You
later,
deserve
Jen.
it.
Jen just-
You can have that on the long. You can have that on the
Or
long.
even just
boat
put
trip.
it in your mouth for a second and then spit it
That
out.
would be fucked up, Jen.
I'm well satiated.
Is there anything else we wanted to talk? Oh, you know, we haven't plugged this once, but the Unmasked is coming up at 2 p.m. today, and then you'll be able to hear it all weekend. And you also put a picture of the poster up on Instagram.
Yeah, and we're doing a first responders for the poster at Judah World Champ and at Bennington Show. And it's probably the nicest poster we've had yet. Judah even requested to get a poster himself.
He did love the poster.
Well,
I saw when he
you know
showed
why
up.
he didn't take one?
Yes.
He's not living anywhere right now.
I have one here for him. I have an extra, and he said he'll pick it up next time he comes
Do
by.
not fuck that up.
No, that poster's
Like
in
you
the special.
did the ping. He asked about the ping pong, and I told him you got rid of it.
No, why would you
Because
do that?
we have a ping pong table. I go, Vito wanted it out.
Good.
I feel like I would be good at ping pong.
No.
Why do you say no?
I don't want to say anything bad, but you don't have good hand-eye coordination.
I do.
Yeah,
I truly do.
you don't. You can't hit a baseball. You couldn't hit a wiffle ball.
Okay,
You
a
can't
baseball's
throw.
different because
No.
you know why? That upper arm strength.
No, not to hit. I would say you can't jack a home run because you like that. First of all, you don't hit with your arms anyway.
You
You're hitting
twist with
baseball.
hips.
It's everything I tried to fucking teach you as a child. You're doing now. But no, you can't catch.
I can catch. I cannot throw. I can't throw.
You had zero interest in it. It's not that you can't do it. Every human being can throw. It's how well you throw. Mm-hmm. And you
Stunk
get
at it.
Yeah, at first
But I think that I would be naturally good at ping pong.
you won't, for the same reason that you can't hit a baseball. You can't hit a tennis ball.
Oh no, my worst nightmare.
They're not spilled. Everyone relax. Just relax.
Those weren't the Altoids, were they?
Yes, they were the outfits.
Come on.
I'm dropping everything lately My phone is down. And here's why. My life is a fucking complete wreck. I believe Mars is in retrograde. Was that it?
Mercury, maybe. I don't know. We have to check because I think it could be.
But my life is falling apart, and I can't trust anyone. Least of all the people in this room right now.
You can trust me.
Vito, don't spend so long scratching your armpit.
Ew,
very
Vito.
good.
Disgusting. Yeah, that's your armpit,
And I
bro.
saw his skin tags shaking back and forth.
God! Come on!
Shaking.
I'm just getting itchy and chafy.
That's why he doesn't belong in this room.
Oh, now it's making me itch.
You don't want him in this room?
No, I mean, the skin tags are just nasty, Ron.
You are upset today because he's in this room.
Yeah. And his mom's dodging me on this Godfather
No,
trilogy.
she's not.
Yeah, it sounds like, because if someone called me out, I know more about the Godfather films than you. You bet your ass I'd be down there saying, "What's up? When's it going to happen?"
We booked it. You know the kind of guests we've
She
had
can't just
lately.
power. We have security in this building.
She's just a respectful woman who's waiting for
Thank
her time.
you.
Unlike you, who barges himself into places.
Seems like she's dodging.
She's a widow.
Yeah.
How could you say these things?
And I don't got no parents at all.
She still wears
I
black,
ain't got
Chris.
no parents at all.
I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go. That's what I wanted to hear, mayonnaise. I broke you, and now I'm going to rebuild you to be an airline pilot.
So I got one up on Les.
What's that guy's name who won the Oscar net?
Louis Gossett Jr.
Louis Gossett Jr. wins the Oscar for that. It was only like the second black guy ever to win an Oscar. He never made a good movie after that.
Really?
Yeah.
He was my favorite actor as a child.
Because of
For the-
Chicken George?
Chicken George, he was in Jaws 2, which I fucking really, as a small child, I enjoyed very much.
Did you like it more than Jaws 1?
You know what? I probably rented it more than Jaws 1 as a little kid. I loved Jaws
Have you
2.
watched it seriously?
No,
It's
I
back
should-
on TV.
I
I
gotta
watched
watch
it
it.
recently, and I was amazed how crazy it is. Because it still has Roy Scheider in it, right? And it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I just know that there was.
He sits in, he fucking shoots into there are people swimming, and some bluefish come by, and he's just sitting in front of them on the beach, shooting a gun into a school of bluefish.
So
and I'm
funny.
like, dude, you're fucking out of your mind.
I mean, he's off the rails, that dude.
PTSD'd up.
He's really lost.
It is insanely bad. I'd actually think that Jaws 2 is worse than Jaws 3D. And then Jaws 4 is the one that they went to the Bahamas for.
Yeah, and then
The shark followed them.
The shark
SeaWorld
followed
or
him.
something?
No, SeaWorld is Jaws 3D.
Okay, yeah.
But there was a comic, I'm trying to think of his name, the boy from New York City, Rich Jenny, did a bit on Jaws 4 and the shark following them to the Bahamas. He did it on the Tonight Show, unbroken, just this bit, and it fucking killed.
Really?
Yes. Like, I remember literally laughing out loud.
And he didn't talk about anything else.
I think he
just
only talked about Jaws 4 during this
That's
entire
amazing.
thing. And it was fucking hysterical. Rest his soul, Rich Jenny. He had, he heard voices.
Really schizophrenic?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ended up killing himself. But obviously it's because they didn't work out the chemicals properly.
Yeah.
Do you ever think that you hear voices, Vito?
Sometimes, like I'll be up at night and I'll think I hear something and then I don't.
That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a person hearing another person. In the
I've
room.
never heard anybody telling me
Here's
to
what
do
I
things.
normally hear. It just goes like this. Hush, hush. Keep it down now. Voices carry. Keep it down now. Voices carry. Why don't you shut your mouth? When she loses at the end. One of the best things ever. Man, I keep watching this stuff. That Bannon is at an all-time war with the Republicans to get new Republicans, and now the old breed is saying, bring it on. We're going to start attacking Bannon.
Oh my God. It's just,
Look, no matter what you say in this country, the Republicans are 10 times more interesting than the Democrats.
Yes.
And they're 10 times more driven than the Democrats.
Yes.
The Democrats are on their heels like Vito's mom. Chris is saying that he thinks that she should have an attack, get in here and defend her. And Vito's like, well, we're good Democrats, so we don't do that. Well, Chris is a fucking Bannon Republican, a white supremacist Republican.
That's right. Hey, give me that Godfather trivia. Give it to me.
You're gonna
That's
feel
all I
really
want.
stupid when you just get beat the fuck
I'm
down.
gonna feel great when I take down 2 Khaleesi's.
Okay, that's...
Do you mean my dad?
Was he a Khaleesi?
Yes, he was a Khaleesi.
Do you know that for a fact?
Yes, my mom married into the Khaleesi family.
And so you call your family the Khaleesi's?
Yeah, we say Khaleesi's.
That's interesting.
But ever since the Game of Thrones woman named Khaleesi, I don't like to say that anymore.
Why? It's cool.
But you only call it multiple.
You're the mother of
Khaleesi's.
dragons, dude. That's cool.
How do you say your
Khaleesi, Vito Khaleesi.
Oh, I always thought that you said Khaleesi, and then when there's multiple views, you say Khaleesi's.
No, I always said Khaleesi, and I always corrected people on Khaleesi until Game of Thrones blew up, and then that fucking name, and I just didn't want to hear it. Like the hot girl from Game of Thrones, and I don't watch Game of Thrones.
You ever sing this? Take it Khaleesi, take it Khaleesi. Don't let the sound of your own wheels. Hey, did you like that little boy's song that he sent to us?
Oh my God, are you kidding?
Yeah.
It was so good. So good. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
I can't believe, how far he's
I
come.
can't believe he's so troubled. I didn't want to say anything to his mom.
I know.
But he's a troubled young guy.
Yeah. Weight of the world.
Oh, the best artist still. Look at Chris Stanley. He's got the weight on the world on his arches. Have you had your arches checked yet?
Not yet, no.
Would you say flat, though? Flat enough to keep you out of military?
Easily, yeah. I mean, we're definitely in that zone. They're not going to take me from the military.
Isn't it funny that the arches was always a big thing?
They never would have let me in. My foot is as flat as can be. No arch.
Yours too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a size, with a size 16, you're not a basketball player, you're not hoping for any space between it.
Well, basketball players, a lot of them are very big dogs too.
No, but I'm saying, if I was, I'm not athletic, so I'm not going to have, a nice athletic foot.
How are you not saying that you're not athletic?
Yeah, but you could be born with a flat footed.
You got
That's
good
not.
quickness.
It's not like you get fit and your arches get better.
Yeah.
I think if you if you're running a lot, you got good arches.
Let's see you stand. No, that's not necessarily true.
It's not true.
Let's see you stand up and let's see you just throw a punch.
What kind of punch?
Any kind of punch, Vito.
Like that?
That's how you would throw a punch? That's the weakest thing I've ever seen in my life. If you were in a fight, that's how you would punch?
I don't know how I would punch in a fight. I'd be pretty amped up on adrenaline.
Yeah. But that's one thing that happened. That's one. It wasn't that far off. I mean, it was very effeminate. It was very effeminate.
Like a cat.
You're very furious with Gail right now. Do you want to fight her? Because I bet you couldn't punch her.
Yeah, she'd win.
Let's see what happens. Let's just do some light sparring.
So
You know what I mean?
show
Don't
some
hit me in the
shim-shim.
face.
Oh, God.
Show him some shin shin Gail.
Come on.
Oh, shit.
You don't have to really.
I don't know. Stop!
Oh, hold on. You're going to fight a girl? Let me in.
Bring it, Ron. Show him, Ron.
Now, Vito did something interesting. Because he's much larger than me, but he attempted to drop his shoulder down underneath mine.
That's
Everything that you had.
Instead of coming at it from the top, you went lower.
But when you said that he couldn't throw a punch, he was really furious with you.
I know.
You get a red ass, Vito.
I know. I've been turning on Gail lately. What did I get mad at you for last week?
I can't remember. I said something about you and you were not happy.
Oh, it was Szechuan. Szechuan.
He can't say Szechuan. I called him out and said, what? What did I say this time?
Szechuan.
Szechuan. You got it. See?
Yeah.
Now we got to work on that punch.
Yeah.
Punch is just fucking.
And then remember the other thing that she called you was a greasy sauce eater the other day.
Gravy boy.
I'm not.
Gravy boy, oh my little gravy boy. We got to go to break here, but one more time plug what we're doing. If you want to go over and take a look at this poster, it's on Instagram. And we're going to do a first responders on Twitter. This way we confuse everybody with this, right?
Yeah. So we're
He said, yeah.
just degrees. So you're going to tweet at Bennington Show and at Judah World Champ for your chance to win this signed poster. And it will also be on Instagram at Bennington Show SXM.
And you can just leave a comment there for no reason.
You can leave a comment there.
What's up there already?
It's just going to be up there, so like you can go look at it, and then and then you can go over to Twitter and you can go tweet about it.
You're never going to make it in the marketing business.
Spencer Berger's doing good in there, so I might get in with him.
I actually hear some very interesting things about his radio show, too.
Really?
Yeah, with DJ Berg. I'll get into it with you off the air, but it looks like it's going good. I want him to do burger and fries. He's not interested in that. Yeah. I also said, why don't you just go with 5 napkin burger? You ever have one of those?
I have had one of those.
I use 3 napkins for me. 3. All right, groupthink, we'll take a break. Back in just a couple of moments. Bennington. Hey, it's the Bennington Show. Coming up today at 2 o'clock. En masse with Judah Friedlander. Judah. Go to Netflix, see his special that starts on Halloween. America is the greatest country in the United States.
Can't wait for it. It's going to be a great one.
We were talking about this. Somebody else has put out a list, and God damn it, what is life without lists, right?
We need it. I live and breathe.
List.
It is the 15 most influential websites of all time from Time Magazine.
Time Magazine, somebody who's no longer influential
Right.
because of websites. You would think Time.com would be gigantic. Never go there.
No.
Never.
Never.
No reason.
Could have did it. Doesn't do it. Could have did it. Anybody know who I was just doing an impression of there?
No.
That's Shroud Small.
Was it?
Could have did it. Didn't do it.
Time is Time one of those ones where it has like a paywall? There's like a couple one of the websites.
If you have a paywall, I'm done with you, New York Times. Yes, I will look at you 10 times a month. And then when you put up the paywall, I'm out. And it isn't because it's expensive.
No,
it's because
just,
I'll have to sign a thing.
it's a pain. It's a total pain. That's the only reason. I agree. I probably would. I would subscribe. Why not?
If I didn't have to write everything in, if I could just click, yeah,
Yes, I will.
and that's it.
Take care of the rest of it.
The worst is the Financial Times. That website just won't give you anything.
I didn't know you were checking on your money. That's interesting, Chris.
I think I've seen that before where you go to click a link and then it's just like,
I-
this is not for your eyes, broke dick.
For your eyes never. So give me the title of this list.
The 15 most influential websites of all time.
Number 1, the Interrobang, or
Yes.
iBang, as it's known to the younger kids who are in such a hurry. Where is that on the top 15?
Did not make the top 15.
That's odd. That's
Weird.
peculiar.
Oh, because it's specifically comedy? Is
Drudge
that one?
Report has to be number 1.
Drudge Report is number 8 on
Bullshit.
most influential websites.
Bullshit.
I think you've got to go most influential. YouTube was like,
Oh, I didn't even think of that as a website. I think
that's
got
got to
to
be a before and after.
YouTube is number 5 on the list.
What? 5? Not even top 3?
There's some, I'm going to be honest, there's some suspect websites on this list.
This is why I hate and love a list. I love to hate them because Drudge is number 1, no matter what you're doing. What are they saying? Google is a website now?
They're saying Google is number 1.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
makes
search
sense.
engine. That's not fair.
Bullshit.
Then why would you bring it in, Chris? This is under your initials, CS.
I know, and I'm letting you know that this list in Time Magazine should be they should know they made a terrible list.
By the way, they just announced that their Man of the Year every year, which is always controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Bennington.
Whoa! Congratulations.
Congratulations.
This is great. Really big. for
Hold
you.
on. This is going to piss you off. They're saying I have to share it with the Pope. 2 most influential
Still
Catholics.
good, though.
Guy gets enough.
No.
I don't even know if I'm showing up for my portrait. So this list, man. All right, next, number 2, the phone company. Ma Bell.
Number 2, Amazon.com.
Yeah, I mean, I would have.
It's not a place to browse. It's a place to shop and watch movies.
I browse the reviews sometimes. They have some pretty fun reviews on there for products.
You mean the comment section?
Yeah. I'll go on the 1-star ratings for stuff.
That reminds me, Jackie wants us to sign his website.
Okay.
I already figured out what I like. No joke. This is a great book. This time he's not joking. This book is the funniest thing. My balls just fell off. All right, number 3. Weekly Reader?
No. Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
Who
That's
begs for money or else they're going to go out. They asked me for $15 the other day. $15. Good at it.
I will admit, every year I do give money to Wikipedia because
Oh
I
my
do feel
God.
like
You understand
should.
that there's babies that are being smothered in fucking blankets because you're not giving any
I
money?
give them money too. I
Oh.
give the baby blankets money.
Okay, I didn't know. Color me fucking red.
They deserve that high ranking. Like, because I wouldn't have passed, like, high school without Wikipedia.
No,
Like
I
that.
didn't have it.
I had the shit out of it, and I used it so much. Like, and
Anyone who uses Wikipedia for a fucking report is an idiot. There couldn't be any more general or duller things than Wikipedia.
but it's all in one place, and it made essays so easy in high school. It just made everything.
Your essays must have been a cut and paste. It's why you can't do work now.
It wasn't cut and paste, but it was like I would change the end of the sentence to the beginning of the sentence.
That sounds like a cut and paste.
that's
Put a
really-
period at
that's
the beginning,
really bad.
Yes.
and I capitalized the last letter.
What is this, Bizarro World?
So you never had to like take out a book and like fucking read from it and then write a report?
Yes, I've had to use it once or twice, but no, I'm saying
Jesus
Wikipedia
Christ.
was my.
The way you just described
Oh,
that
my God.
sounds like pure ignorance.
It's
You never fucking took out a fucking book.
Fucking crack that sucker open
I'm
and
just
read
saying
the
this.
words.
Not only is this list a waste,
Yeah.
but so is the person who brought it to our attention. The
I-
person that has been referred to by Mr. Art Garfunkel as the poorest excuse of a producer known to man.
That
He had
hurts.
me on the phone. He goes, Ron, I'm a producer. I know what things just. How could you call him a producer? I go, we can't, Art. We can't.
I know
And
you
then I
guys-
sang this to him. I go, first of all, a lot of your songs were racist. And I go, not just you, but Simon and Garfunkel songs. And he goes, name a racist song. I go like this. Hello, dark ass, my old friend. I go, we don't refer to African Americans as dark asses anymore. And that's when he said, Ron, it's darkness. And I just hung up. I actually slammed my cell phone down. Is that weird? I just slammed it on the table.
I guess we did give up the angry hang up. There is no angry hang up.
I give a very sharp button push.
You should have a sound effect at least that you get to
I
play.
would like that slam sound effect. You, sir, being slammed. Jen, where is a place that you go every day online that may surprise the rest of us?
Surprise? Well, it's
Yeah.
not. It's TMZ.
TMZ?
Every day.
TMZ.
Is
'cause she's-
TMZ up there?
Well, TMZ is not on the list.
Now that's a bullshit thing because TMZ was a website, right? First, ended up taking over TV. Now everybody is copying TV. Page 6, John Fugelsang. I'm looking at you right now.
And like, did you notice it? Like TV, like movies used to use like CNN all the time as like something like breaking
CNN.
in the movie world, and then now like if something breaks in a storyline in a movie, it's always like TMZ reported that Apollo Creed's illegitimate son is a boxer now.
Let me tell you something about TMZ, and I will take this to my fucking death. They never misreport anything. They report a lot of dumb stuff that doesn't matter, but you never get if they say Michael Jackson's dead, you don't have to go, well, let's wait until we see it somewhere else. No, Michael Jackson's dead.
And
They get it first.
the weird thing is that changed. Like at first, people started to act like they were a rag, and now
Like
people,
National Enquirer.
yeah, they acted like it, but they actually are not. And that was I actually remember different things like that, like a death being reported, and people be like, "Is it?" And now you never question.
You never
You're
question
like, oh,
TMZ.
it's on fucking TMZ.
Because
It's
they've got
fucking real
people in the
now.
morgue, they got people in the hospital. They pay to play. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
Yeah. You want the funny? Bring that money. That's what I said. That's what I said to club owners. I said to Stan. I go, you want that funny? Where that money? And they go,
Did they take well to that, or?
no, they don't like it at all. And I also say I'm unionizing all the comedians. It's going to be a closed shop. All right, so you go to TMZ every day.
Yeah. Every day.
Vito, you got a place that you go every day?
I mean, like there's always the porn websites. Like I'll go on Pornhub and just see what's out there. But I won't even like
Is Pornhub on the list?
Pornhub should be.
Actually, I saw this, that they're saying that places like the porn sites that get a lot of hits could be the people that challenge Amazon one day, that they could just start selling products on there because they get that kind of walkthrough service.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
But if I go to Pornhub, I'm very rarely thinking about novels or pants that I might buy. I'm looking for a jack doll, if you have one of those, a doll that I could jack to. But isn't that funny that they're saying they get the kind of traffic
Yeah.
that if they wanted to and they believe in the future, they're going to try to find things that will make people make purchases other than on sex toys.
Yeah,
You know?
that's interesting. Because then all of a sudden you're like, I am low on paper towels.
Yeah, Vito just got a bottle of what he calls Peter pills. And to both thicken and quicken.
It's great.
Interesting.
They're blue, so
Yeah.
like they look really tasty before you put them in your mouth.
Weird.
How about you, Gail?
I think that there are websites that I go to for news, and then there are websites that I go to every day to waste time. And those are two different types of things. Like, I would go to, like, a BBC News for my news online, but I go to, like, Vice and BuzzFeed when I'm just like, I'm just gonna spend some time and then end up getting annoyed with something, or, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily always good, but it's a time waster.
See, I never go to either one of those. And even with it, I tend to go to the New York papers first
Interesting.
before anything else.
Yeah.
Because I'm a guy who was a newspaper background. I had been a cub reporter during Watergate. And
Really?
yeah. I was the one who found Deep Throat.
It's you? You were just a kid.
I know. And it was the movie Deep Throat. It had
Okay.
nothing to do. I go, guys, this woman has a clit in her throat. And it's happening. We could all go to it right now and sit next to each other. But you know what I'm saying? Because I grew up on newspapers, I have a tendency to read newspaper reporting first.
Go to their websites.
Yeah, and that's why the Post and the New York Times kick me off all the time.
Yeah, because you're going to them first.
You know what? I'm
before-
going to fucking just sign up for them. Who am I kidding anymore?
I know.
Siri, first of all, try to put yourself into this phone because I didn't when I got you. And then after that, Post, Washington Post, New York Times. I call it the Jew pork crimes
Why the pork?
because they don't eat it, and I feel like getting at them with that. Christians are the only ones who are wide open to pork.
Oh, yeah.
All the other major
prefer it.
religions.
Yeah, that's right. Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
Muslims don't eat pork, right?
No, they fucking despise
Yeah,
pork.
they really hate pork.
They hate pork worse than Jews. And, you know, the Zen Buddhists, they're like, that's a living thing. I go, so's fucking rice, dude, and you're eating that. I'm sure rice wants to survive.
Also, pork is delicious. It's our best meat. It's
you
our
ever-
best meat. I'll say it.
Have you ever eaten bacon? I just read about this the other day on the internet. Everything's better with bacon.
Oh, my God. Love me some bacon.
I saw, I went to the movies with Vito. He was just eating bacon straight out of a jar.
There's little bacon bits that you put on salad. Just
Bacon. So that's weird to me that these are the number one things on the
Yeah.
internet.
Now, is something like a WikiLeaks on there for their influence?
WikiLeaks is number 12.
See, that's crazy.
I know.
To put WikiLeaks up, no.
They're traffic, but can't be possible.
Look, when I read WikiLeaks, it's because somebody has linked to something that goes through WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's
why
a good
would you
point.
ever just look at a mass amount of the papers?
Right. I just want to just check out some raw data right now.
Go get me the fucking data that makes sense and put it in your article.
Like, write it up nice and sum it up for me.
What else would surprise us in there, Chris?
eBay is, they say. Is
I didn't even know that's still around.
I also go, eBay is like where you go for like the more like random, like nostalgic items. Like if you want to buy like vintage clothing and stuff, like Amazon's for like new purchases. And then eBay's like if you want a t-shirt.
You don't you never make those purchases. So why are you saying that you do?
I will go on tears on eBay where I'll buy.
Tear?
I'll go on fucking eBay tears sometimes, and I'll be like $100 in, and I'll be like, "Why did I buy
$100? Wow,
American?
That's
like,
something. That,
100.
by the way, that's something you. What is that one shirt that you bought?
No, I'll buy like old like shirts that don't even fit. Like I'll buy like XL.
It's every shirt that doesn't fit.
Some shirts
You
fit
don't
me.
do this. You're lying again to get airtime.
I could bring in shirts for you guys.
Bring it in.
I'll bring in
Bring it in
my
Monday.
Bring in your vintage
Monday.
shirt.
My Tasmanian Devil Met shirt that's a size XL that has never fit me and never will, but I was on eBay and I saw it and I was like, that would be fun to have.
It never will really got me. That was sad.
It's true, though.
Fatty bought a shirt, did he?
Oh. I buy a lot of shirts that don't fit.
Yeah.
And then I go, one day it'll fit.
Where else you got? Donuts.com?
I
Do you deliver?
Please.
All the Boston creams you can get here. Ray. I'm $100 into this. $100. What fucking year is this? 1890? He's bragging about that?
$100 is a lot.
Of what?
Money.
That's one shirt.
No, it's not. I buy cheap shirts. Except this one. This was like $20.
That's still cheap.
For me, I was like breaking the bank for $20.
You know how much my t-shirts cost? $740.
Holy shit.
Yeah. They're made out of human baby.
Like soft.
The skin?
Oh, are they? Yeah. Made out of the skin and some of the meaty tissue. This has gone nowhere. This is what I would call a dead-end conversation.
My biggest problem with the whole list, we haven't got to it, is they put fucking yahoo.com on the list. Everybody, yeah, sure. But is that influencing anyone?
We all
Yahoo is
just
just
did
a
it.
bad
Is
search engine.
Yahooligans on there?
No.
That was the
What's that?
when I was in school and Yahoo was very new. We had to use Yahooligans, which was the children's version, so there was no pornographies or bad
Oh, that's
stuff
cute.
filtered through.
That's adorable.
Because
Look.
one time my computer teacher put up porn on the giant screen on
Did you
accident,
all yell?
because you know what it was? Whitehouse.com instead of whitehouse.gov.
Oh, I remember
It's a porn
that.
site.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to explain how the internet works, and then he put in whitehouse.gov.com, and then everyone was like, ah!
Yeah. I'd still be screaming.
Holy shit! It's sex. We saw all the parts. We saw everything. I mean, it was a very graphic image, and
Remember
there was Shaft. There was everything.
What about GoDaddy?
GoDaddy, not on the list.
I got it. Got one. Craigslist. Craigslist.
Craigslist made it number 6.
That was a
little
big
high.
one.
That's a little high, though.
Far too high for Craigslist.
You're crazy. That was a game changer.
Yeah, but like
that
number
was a
6?
game changer.
Where's Facebook?
How many apartments did we all get because of Craigslist?
I got none
How
apartments.
about how angry
Well,
he
that's
said?
because you have none apartments.
I had one and I did not
The
use
only place
Craigslist.
he checks is his mom.com.
Facebook number 4 on the list.
See, Craigslist shouldn't be 3 jumps away from
That's 2, by the way.
no 4, 5, 6,
5, 6. You're already at a place. They're at 6.
I completely I thought it was 7 for a second, but still
Yeah.
that would be too high.
But here's the thing. You're not jumping where you already are. That would be a maniac. Like if I run from
Jump in
first to
places?
third, how many bases did I steal?
2.
By your way, it's 3 bases. First, I steal first that I'm already at. You need to go to Craigslist and get yourself a personality. And a much larger T-shirt.
With no broker fee. Little Craigslist humor for you guys.
I only go to Craigslist for sex hookups.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not just apartments. You can find hookers. There was, they still do that?
They banned it. Now there's a website called Backpage.com that is like a Craigslist, but people only go there for prostitutes.
I thought they banned
I wouldn't go to a
Backpage.
place that's known for that. Like, at least if I went to Craigslist, I'd be like, I don't know what happened. But if I went to a place that's just for prostitutes, I'm like, you got me, dude. I went to the prostitute place and you caught me.
You could have been like, I thought she was going to show me a nice loft on
Right.
the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever used, like, have you ever met anybody who actually went to the missed encounters on Craigslist?
Oh, yeah. Those, I mean, I don't know if anyone has ever used it that I know, but we used to read them all the time.
Reading them, but, like, I've never met somebody who's like, I fucking saw somebody in the subway today in a green shirt, and I have to go see if they're on
But
missed
have you
encounters.
ever saw someone in your life that you just don't forget? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you saw someone and you just thought that they were either interesting or attractive, and then you didn't walk up to them, and years have gone by now.
Yeah. I have a misconnection where a guy he gave me his number. It was a situation. And at that time I was dating someone. So I was like, I'll just chuck this because it'll be just too tempting to have this number on my person. I should have kept that number. 100% should have. And I still think like, wow,
I'm going to tell everybody the end of the story because Gail won't. The person was Sting.
What?
Yeah, she could be with Sting.
From the police.
Sting.
Yes, from the police.
Man,
Vito just said which Sting.
Are you thinking old NWA Sting?
I was hoping it was
He
in the Raptors.
never was
Sting.
good.
And I never would sleep with him.
Come on.
Whether I was with someone or not.
Why? She don't want to be in the fucking rafters, just staring down at everybody because the crow came out.
It's too high up here.
Here's the thing that annoys me about wrestling, okay? I'm going to get it out there. Wrestling fans.
Yeah.
The wrestling is entertaining enough, but you idiots, how deep and how wrong you are about everything is what keeps me from enjoying wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many things that you love that thing, and then you look around and go, if these are my peers, I'm out. Like, I don't want to be with these people.
Let me tell you something. Coming up at 2:00 today, Judah Friedlander. Now, while I was going back through Judah's career, which I'm going to tell you right now, way more movies and TV shows than I would have given him
Yeah, a
credit
lot.
for. But he became internet famous for a hugging in a music video. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's
He
right.
was the guy who's hugging. Does anybody remember the band?
Yep, it was Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, so there's Dave Matthews, and I'm watching this hug, and I was literally kind of touched watching this. There's something very beautiful about this. And then as he comes in, the band is playing, and Dave just looks at him, doesn't break character, and just has like a little smile. And then I'm listening to the band, and I'm like, oh man, it's this integrated band. And I'm like, why haven't I ever liked Dave Matthews? This is pretty fucking cool. And then I remembered why. Dave Matthews fans.
Yeah.
They're annoying as shit.
There's nothing more annoying than that.
Oh, Fish fans.
Fish fans have to be.
Grateful Dead fans. Annoying. Bruce Springsteen fans. Annoying.
Yeah.
And are you ready for this? Beyonce fans.
Oh, good.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Fans can keep you away from the product, which many times is good.
Yeah. But it's not fair. Don't hate the Bay, hate the Hive.
Yeah, but she's playing to the Hive. Springsteen plays to his fans, Dave Matthews. Like, they're taking advantage of that thing. You know what I mean?
I remember there are also just certain comedic things. Like, I know that right now somebody was telling me this because they're a fan of that Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it sucks because I enjoy this show, but now there's an association with the people who like this show.
Right.
That it's just pure embarrassment that now I'm at the level where maybe I wouldn't even admit it in public because you're like, what are you, one of those Szechuan kids or something? And you're like, I'm not a nerd. I just enjoy something.
I would say the same thing about alt comedy fans. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll agree with that.
They
100.
get very fucking snooty.
And I'll say something. There are a lot of alt comedians that I really like, and I will go to the Bell House.
Yes.
And I will see them, and it's very enjoyable. But I'm not necessarily with a group of people that I love.
Yes.
Standing, and I don't want to come off like I've seen you 5 times. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's a nerdiness there
Yes.
and a sensitivity that I would not want to be associated with.
Nerdiness is something that you should try to get over, not embrace. You should be born a nerd, not stay a nerd.
Well, here's another one for you. All things that I like that have any bit of gothiness to them
Yes.
are any gothy girl is a nerd. It's an embarrassing thing.
Yes.
So I put that from movies to music to style, and I'm going to even throw in a religion in here. That I was raised Wiccan. When I was young, I didn't know anyone outside of me and my mom who practiced Wicca. When I came to New York City, I was like, I'm meeting all these kinds of people. I'm sure that I'm going to meet people who might be practicing pagans, Wiccans, whatever. And there was a group of kids at my school who were Wiccan, and I was like, these are the worst people I've ever met. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I might be done. I might have to never publicly say that this is what I believe in.
Are you Wiccan or Cutters? Make up your mind.
Exactly. Oh my God. And then like there was a thing where I was like, cool. Yeah. Just so you know, it's not like wizardry, right? Like they kind of were like, yeah, but like we might be able to fly on broomsticks a little bit, right? And I'm like, no, this is embarrassing. Please. So I maybe back away from it because I didn't want to be associated with nerds.
I call them window store Wiccans. Jen, what about you? You're being very quiet during this. Something that you hate.
Star Wars fans. That's why I could never get into Star Wars because they're
The
crazy.
fans are terrible.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one too. KKK fans.
My God.
The actual KKK. There's a lot of great stuff in
You know,
there.
I want to walk around in my cloak and not feel like I'm going to be associated
With
with,
those other
the
fuckers.
other ones.
Yeah.
Disney fans can get really intense too. Like people who go to Disney World like over and over, and people who are
Very
like,
scary.
I fucking love the Disney.
I know
princess."
so
Have you
many.
been at Disney and been around those people?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, like, you'll see people and they're like, you're gonna love this hotel. We've stayed here, so I'm like, let me experience the hotel on my own. I don't need to know how many times you've been here.
I'm going to say I know probably, I will say 4 sets of like adults who do not know each other, are not related, whatever, who are Disney obsessed. One of which, that thank God they now have a child, but for many years that's where they would vacation before they even had a child. They went to Disney. Like that was their idea of a good time. These are varying ages. I don't know what it is. Something happens. Then they meet another Disney person and then they're like, we're Disney people.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
We collect things from Disney.
And I'm not anti-Disney. It's for children. It's a lovely thing. When I was a child, I thought it was an incredible place.
Well, when I remember, the only time I haven't been there in many years since you guys grew up, but I remember seeing adults, like you're at the electrical parade, and like you've already been there all day. You're fucking exhausted. And the adults would be pushing ahead of the children.
No.
And I'm like, I don't care whether I see a fucking electrical parade, but let the children see the electrical parade. And I don't even mean for my own, because I'll fuck up any of those Disney hounds. But I would see it happening with other things. I would see little kids getting pushed out of the way. And I was just like, did you see it? You don't want to watch the whole thing. It's just fucking electric lights. I'm sunburned. I'm sore.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I'm all fucked up on coke right now. Chris Stangley, the Stangle Master. We did not go to you.
Stanging around here.
Third Stangle Bro.
By the way, whose picture do I see in the reflection?
That's a young picture of Dennis Falcone that's been on the wallpaper
I would do
forever.
anything to have something else because it looks like an FBI agent.
I'll have that changed.
Something that it's not so much you don't like, but the fans cost you.
Craft beer fans. as things blow up in
That's
recent years.
interesting. Yeah.
And they just go on and on about their milk stouts or their IPAs or whatever, and it's just so annoying.
Now, are they brewing their own, or these are just drinkers?
Some brew their own, and I guess I can respect that. But the vast majority just they just like to
I
drink.
like what you said there, because if somebody was a brewmaster, I'd be like, of course they're this interested. But I go through this with the cigar trade, where I go into a cigar bar to relax, not to discuss cigars.
Yeah.
And yet they want to talk about cigars. And I'm like, I'm just relaxing, watching this basketball game, reading this Rugged Men magazine.
Yeah.
Rugged Men for Stay-at-Home Men magazine.
Yeah, wine people are the same way. It's like, I get it if you own a vineyard or if this is your life's work. But people who just are like, we go on wine tours. I know a lot about wine. I talk about
Chris. There's a documentary that you got to watch. It's about a guy who ripped off a bunch of those guys, and he was very likable. He was a very sweet guy. He was like an Asian dude from India. And at night, he would go home and pour fucking shitty wine into bottles, make the labels, and sell it to people. And the weird thing was, they were enjoying it. At no point did everyone said, I taste this wine, I spit it out. They were all just into the hypnosis of, yes, I'm drinking. Because what they really want to do is drink something expensive.
Exactly,
to feel
yeah.
better about themselves. They don't have a great palate. They're not tasting dirt and grain alcohol or whatever the shit that they're saying. They're lying about it. But that experience feels really good.
Right.
To fake that you're enjoying this.
Grey Goose is like that, where it's just in a really nice, it's just in this fucking expensive, fancy bottle.
I'm talking about something that's $20,000 a bottle, not
Yeah.
fucking Grey Goose. I'm talking about, and the Koch brothers had another brother who's rich, who collects all kinds of things. And he had bought, this wine belonged to Thomas Jefferson, so I own it. And this wine was from a Roman Empire. And it was all just bullshit. Did you find the name of that documentary?
Hold on a second.
One of the guys was a film producer, and he got ripped off by this dude, but he still goes and visits him in jail. He's like, he's a fun guy.
Sour Grapes.
Is that the name of it?
That's what I'm seeing. With Rudy Kurniawan was the
I
guy.
think that's the dude.
It's called Sour Grapes.
I don't remember that being the title. 60 Minutes just did something. I saw this a while ago, and then 60 Minutes did a thing on it last night, even though it's years old, or the other night, last Sunday. But fascinating, right? The people just want, and they do this about a lot of things, right? Shoe heads right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They couldn't be more annoying. And I spent a lot of time with shoe heads because so many comics, and they're not even looking on the shoes on each other's feet. They're just going through their phone like a Tinder. Look.
Holy shit.
Look. What are the shoes in New York, the women's shoes that have red bottoms?
Louis Vuittons.
I am seeing that store.
No, Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is something.
No,
different.
Louboutin.
Yeah.
Louboutin, that's
I
what
thought
she said.
you said Louis Vuitton.
No.
What, you're correcting something that didn't happen.
No, I think
you want
I
to correct
I
something, get a
misunderstood.
mirror. And fucking look in that mirror and say, you're wrong.
I know, because Jen actually corrected my pronunciation of it once because I thought it was Louboutin.
That's
And then
delicious.
she did like a sweet, like, oh no.
Oh,
no, you pauper, you.
You dummy. Now, why are they great shoes?
Well, a couple of my friends own a pair, and they're so uncomfortable. I really don't know why. It's just like a status thing, honestly. 'cause
There's
it's not even
nothing
comfortable.
I laugh at more than a woman in New York that can't handle her shoes. And she's staggering around like a baby deer with a fucking stop sign up her ass.
These is bloody shoes.
They're like a couple $1,000 shoes.
But why the red bottom that looks ridiculous?
Because it's like
but-
his signature.
So you
Yeah.
get to show
And no
everybody. See that shit?
other shoe is allowed to.
have,
They
yeah.
have that, like, what do you
Copyright?
copyrighted, but not copyrighted, whatever that is. Trademarked.
Patent? Oh.
Yeah, trademarked. Where you, like, no one else. Now, if the whole shoe is red, sure, you're allowed to have. But if you have just like a red bottom like them, you can't have it.
I opened up the door to that place the other day, and I just yelled, the angels want to wear my red shoes. And I yelled, fuckers! And when I slammed the door, unfortunately, I broke the glass.
Oh, my God.
And I was arrested. And I have to go to court next week for it.
That sucks.
Yeah. I couldn't even believe what I could end up getting.
What's that?
90 years.
What? No.
Yeah.
For the door?
The door and the murder.
Oh, there was
Okay,
a murder?
that's
2.
Why?
double murder.
They had money, Chris. And guess what I need all the time?
What's that?
Money. I never have enough. And I get the money to buy red shoes. Just the sole of them. I bought a full red shoe and then just took white shoe polish, put it over the top. So just the bottoms are. And I go, how do you like these Louis Vuittons? Don't you correct me. Don't you correct me. No. You tried it with Jen and it blew up in your face.
It's Louboutins.
Coming up at 2 o'clock today, Chris Stangles. It's Unmasked with the one and only Judah
Friedlander.
See, I want you to jump in then.
Friedlander.
2 o'clock today. You guys liked the Judah, right?
I
Love.
loved it.
What did you love about it?
He just really opened up. Like it wasn't the world champion character up there the whole time. It was
Had you
actually
ever
Judah.
seen the other Judah before?
I've never seen the other Judah anywhere.
People were like remarking like how thoughtful, how creative, and also like even when he would get angry, like frustrated, and there's one moment where he's speaking very passionately about something, and obviously the world champion like character does not get thrown or emotional.
Yeah.
He's very like matter of fact, and will just say weird things. So it was crazy to see him feel that way.
Judah will get, the real Judah, get almost choked up about any kind of prejudice, injustice, the man coming down on the smaller people. Like, he has such empathy.
Yeah.
And he's so sympathetic. And then the world champion just acts like that shit is cool. And, you know, people are supposed to figure out themselves,
Right.
oh, whatever the world champion says, the opposite should be done.
Right.
You know? But he himself, I can't, you know, he really cares about people. And he's incredibly kind to everybody that he meets. I just love the guy.
Yeah,
I really
me
do.
too. And this was such a fantastic Unmasked, and I'm so glad he did it.
Yeah. Because he could have been there, been the world champion, right? And it would have been hysterical.
Yeah, we would have had a good time with it, and I think we all would have had fun. But to see him open up this way was awesome.
Dude, the amount of things that he outed in the business.
I
was
know.
like- and I'll let everybody listen for themselves. But I have something I want to, maybe when we put it on iTunes, I'll bring up the thing about him that I really kind of admire the most. But I'll let people figure it out for themselves. All right, that's coming up at 2 o'clock. Chris, I don't want to break today at all. I want to just throw the commercials out and just do this show without them.
We can't. We have to break.
You heard me, Chris.
We have to break.
No commercial Fridays.
We hate to play commercials. We have to break.
No commercial blocks. 7 hours today.
No, there will be commercial blocks.
You're not supposed to call them blocks if you really want people to stay with us. Coming up in 2, Judah Friedlander. You guys listen to Bennington. Still the favorite rejoiner, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Vito was going to get a new opening, a new rejoiners. He took, I'll say, like 5 steps towards it, and then
Just take 5
we're all
more.
out. No, it's King Chris's. King Chris is the guy. This is going to stay with us forever now. It's a hallmark. I call this song King Chris.
Riding his mighty steed.
It's time for Unmasked, everybody, and what an Unmasked it is. Judah Friedlander has a brand new. Thank you, everyone. He's got a new special out called America is the Greatest Country in the United States. I cannot recommend this more highly.
I'm so excited. It premieres on Tuesday, right? On
All Hallows Eve, my friend.
Oh, so spooky.
The night before All Saints Day. And I know how much the kids look forward to All Saints Day.
But that is definitely my Halloween plans for this
Well, it's
year.
exciting.
I'm gonna watch it.
You will watch it and rewatch it. I'll be talking about it here in the special, but it's for a person like yourself, Gail, that loves punk rock. This is 100% punk rock. It's 100% do it
Well,
yourself.
this was such a great Unmasked, and Judah, you get to see such an interesting side of Judah. But I loved the way he talked about his special, like how you say punk rock because there was like actual like morals to the way he felt.
Yes.
He needed to present this, and it just sounds great.
He has a very strong moral code, and it's a Judah code. He doesn't try to force it on other people, but what Judah believes art is, what Judah believes do the right thing is there for him. And I've said this, I think, before, but he's incredibly ambitious about his art. And very little ambition has to do with his career. He doesn't want to move up ranks. He wants to do his specific things. And he's a fascinating listen. Like, I really enjoyed this Unmasked. We're giving out the signed Judah poster. You want to go to Twitter, at Bennington Show and at Judah World Champ. Vito will pick out his favorite over the weekend, and that person will win the signed poster. So make sure you do that. Be a first responder right during and after this Unmasked. And let's not this took place at a club where I watched Judah work so many times, and that's The Stand in New York City. So I thought it would be very cool to do it there. This is Unmasked with Judah Friedlander.
Live from the Stand Comedy Club in New York City, this is SiriusXM's Unmasked with special guest Judah Friedlander. His brand new Netflix special is debuting. Judah Friedlander, America is the greatest country in the United States. And now, coming to the stage, your host, Ron Bennington. The world champion, Judah Friedlander.
The champ is here. 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 The champ is here.
The champ is here.
The champ is here.
Good to see you, Judah. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty incredible.
So Halloween is going to be the release of. Is this your first special? The
First one I've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've turned them down over the years.
Yeah.
I probably should have had about 5 or 7 out at this
Yeah.
point. I've been doing stand-up since 89, so I should have had a bunch out. But, for creative reasons and legal reasons, I've kind of turned them down.
Yeah.
So, no, because they used to have these things where it's like, let's say you did a special or an album, whatever company, corporation it was that was going to put it out, they would own not only that particular night where they filmed you, they would own all the writing and the material.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you don't get to own what I wrote. So I was always like, no.
Well, I know as we're doing this, it hasn't shown yet, but I saw this. This is written, directed, performed, everything by Judah Friedlander, and I have never seen a special like this before in my life. It's really, really incredible. I don't even know. I'm going to ask you right away. How did you even shoot this? I don't understand the camera work.
It was a mix of having, first of all, I just filmed regular shows.
Yeah.
I didn't film like hey, I'm taping my special, come
Yeah.
on out. And they bring in, 3 trucks full of camera equipment and smoke machines. And I wanted to make it like a regular night. So I filmed just regular nights here in the city. And some of it I filmed myself. I would just put up a little, camera on a little mini tripod or a clip and put it up there. And then and then sometimes I would hire some people to just hand hold the camera.
Right.
And so it was a real kind of, I wanted it to have, a realness and a rawness and an intimacy to it. So you actually feel like you're just there watching it, And so that's kind of, so I went with a low budget approach. I wanted it to look like, a Sex Pistols video from the 70s.
It is punk rock. This is 100% punk
or,
rock.
like a Jim Jarmusch movie from the early 80s, like Stranger Than Paradise or something like that, kind of just an indie, do-it-yourself, low-budget, documentary style kind of vibe.
It really, first of all, it's in black and white, too, and you're just mainly getting a close-up of Judah on stage. You're not getting the things that we've seen a million times where it's cutting to some pretty girl laughing. It's just you're right there. But it feels to me like a film, like a documentary film.
I actually, when I was pitching it around, I called it a film. And then when Netflix, I licensed it to them, they said, no, you have to call it a Netflix comedy original. It's a special. It's not a film. I'm like, well, it doesn't really fucking matter what you want to call it.
Right,
It's just like, but no, I consider it like a film. It's just like a stand-up performance film.
Well, and it's not like every special is an hour. Yours goes longer. Everything that you've done, people don't do, including just putting up a camera yourself and shooting this. Because I was with you last winter at a lot of sets, and you're like, yeah, I'm shooting a special. And I'm like, I don't know if you are. I don't think... And then he's like...
That might be the best review I've had yet.
But even when it came down to like, yeah, now I'm editing that special, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to sell. Yeah. But I watched it. Honestly, it's a stunning look. And it has like a Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back whole vibe to it. You know what I mean? It's like... Here's the way that I was thinking. And
Let's face it, I'm a great cinematographer.
Yes,
I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yes, you are. But the thing that was like blowing me away, because I've never really been a fan of regular specials for just the reason, like, for some reason they'll just put a giant shoe on the stage, and it doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like, here's what we're doing.
Yeah, I've never understood like someone's got some goofy stage design, with, I don't know, or then the crane shots, these swooping cameras that are flying all over the place, and I just like, I don't know, that's not what comedy's about.
No.
I don't think, So I just wanted to, try to capture a real experience. And I tell you, I filmed tons of shows, probably for a year or more before I actually kind of figured out like how to get it as close to the way I wanted it to look as I did. So there was a lot of trial and error.
But was it always going to be black and white right from the beginning?
No, it wasn't. I was initially going to have it just be more of a little bit of a muted color. And then I started playing around in like the editing with like making things black and white, and I just thought it kind of like, I'm like, I think this just fits with what I'm doing and the way the whole project is. It's just everything just kind of fit together.
Well, I'll also say this, and it seems strange to say, but when I was a kid, I listened to albums first before there were specials, and they
likewise, yeah.
And that was always so cool to me because I didn't understand where this was happening at, right? And I had like an image in my head, and that's what your film reminds me of that feeling of not only like I was like, you have to even be cool to be in that room. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, like, how do people know where this show is? How do they know where Carlin is or Richard Pryor?
Right.
So that was the feeling that I got immediately when I was watching this thing roll out,
Yeah, I just wanted to keep it simple, I mean, I think if the material's good, you want to be able to just be engaged and come in with it. And even when I make my own, like I make some short films here and there, I generally like a low budget look to things. And when I've acted in movies, I've always enjoyed acting in the low budget things better.
Yeah.
Because when you have a low budget, you have to use and stand-up comedy is a low-budget art. It's
Right.
just it's a mic stand and a mic and an audience. That's it. It's not a high-tech art form. It's very simple. So I don't know why it should be filmed in such a high production value kind of way.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
like it's a simple art form. Film it in a simple way, and it's easy to digest. You know, I mean, the audience here, you guys aren't sitting on floating chairs that are like whizzing around the room and shit. You know, you just want a nice, comfortable seat, or you can just fucking watch the show. You know.
But it is, you don't even get an intro of this. It just starts.
No, I hate intros. I hate fucking intros. But I can't stand. I think I've seen it done funny once or twice, where there was a stand-up special, and then there's that little pre-sketch.
Yeah.
And then, and it's usually something contrived, like the comic's nervous or something. I'm
Right.
like, if you're doing a special, and why are you fucking nervous doing a comedy show? Comedy is the most relaxing thing I do. It's like, whatever your profession is, you shouldn't be nervous when you're doing it or about to go to your job. This should be, you're a fucking professional. This should be what you're good at and what you're confident at. So, I remember Stephen Wright's special, I believe it's I Have a Pony, his first special from the early 80s. That one had a short film, and it was really a short film. It wasn't a sketch, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny. But usually I'm like, okay, so you get this chance to do a stand-up comedy special, and then the first thing you do is put some fucking skit before the stand-up thing. And stand-ups, many of them are always making fun of sketch and improv.
Yeah.
And then here you are with your big break, and you do a fucking skit right before your fucking stand-up show. Why are you fucking doing that? It's just like, get to the fucking thing. It's like, that's one thing I did learn on 30 Rock, with how they wrote and edited the things was like on 30 Rock, each episode I think was 22 minutes. But if they didn't have time constraints for TV, it would probably be like 26, 28 minutes. Mm-hmm. But they would cut and cut and cut and cut. So there was like no fat. It was just all action with the jokes. And so with this thing, I'm like, why waste the time of, here he is, coming on.
Yeah.
Just fucking get right in. And then let people, the audiences are smart. Don't dumb it down. You don't need to see the fucking intro and shit, and then just fucking get right to the jokes and get right to the meat of the material. Just start.
So when you shoot this thing, you edit it, it takes you a while. You go out and take this around. It doesn't look like a regular stand-up special. Were people confused when you first said, "Boom"? Here's this
well, I gave it to my agent. He liked it a lot. Netflix was his first choice, and it took a while, but then got the green light on it.
Right.
And then, I did a little bit of. Initially, they wanted me to cut it down to an hour.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I cut it down about 2-3 minutes, and I did. I think the original cut was 87 minutes, and this version's 84 minutes, and I think it actually is stronger with the bits that I cut out. It actually is stronger. So, and then I rearranged a little bit of the order of things. So, because initially there was more crowd work and, the thing where I'm ripping on people from other countries, but I'm actually really kind of ripping on them.
Yeah.
On my own country, or just doing both at the same time, really. Initially, there was much more of that up front. And then I moved some of the material, the satirical stuff about USA being number one. I moved that up a little bit earlier because I felt that was, getting more to some of the meat of the stuff earlier. So that a friend of mine, that was like his idea. Because after editing it for so long, it's like I lose total... because I already wrote it and performed it,
right? And
now I've been editing it for months, and I'm like, I can't look at it anymore. I had to quit and walk away from it, so I couldn't have any judgment on it after a while.
What I also think is so wild, and I never saw anyone do it. You don't fake the edits where it looks like, oh, this is happening here. You'll just fade to black for a second, and there's something in your own handwriting.
Yeah, I did all the titles myself,
yeah,
too.
it's
All
amazing.
the titles are handwritten by myself. And it'll just say, like one might say, Random Nights, New York City, February to May, 2017. And then one might say, June, New York, 2017. I think it's it's not like this one isn't meant to be all in one night. It's a little more of a montage or a collage of different nights, and thematically it's all kind of strung together with a common theme, even though there is different stuff. And there's one-liners, there's crowd work, and then there's long extended bits as well.
Yeah, they're all segmented out like that, but it does feel like you get the feeling of time with this, and that's another reason why it feels like a documentary.
Okay.
Like if you would have just broke it up with you eating breakfast or walking down the street, people would go, "Oh, this is a documentary film."
Right. Yeah, there's no interviews. There's no just. I don't know. To me, when you watch things, there's always so much stuff that's just repetitive. Where. You'll have an establishing shot of the outside of the venue. Who the fuck cares what the outside of the venue looks like?
You see your name in lights for a second.
Yeah. It's like, why? Or then when a comic when in the special they mention they're taping a special. It's like, why? That's just annoying narcissism. It's like, why? Just fucking do your fucking show. Don't.
Well, that's a thing. Everything that you do is so uniquely you. Like even your crowd work is different than I've ever seen anybody do crowd work before.
Well, thanks. I mean, as a comic, I guess, and even if you're not a comic, if you're just a person, everyone should be theoretically different than everyone else. So, but I mean, society. It's true. I mean, at your core, I think everyone is different. If you're related to your family members, there should be some similarities theoretically because of genetics. But it's like society is always trying to make people conform.
Right.
Always, and it's everyone's oppressed on some level. I mean, certain people are oppressed more than others, but this oppression to conform is just always there, and I've heard it throughout my career.
Yeah.
I remember when like as far as clubs wouldn't book me because I didn't wear a jacket, or I had long hair, or I wore a hat. They wouldn't book me. They didn't care what my act was like. They'd be like, nope, and so it's just that kind of shit's always around. So you just got to be you, and I think as far as individuality goes, it's always a fight because society is always trying to make you not you, no matter what it is, whether it's your boss, whether it's whatever, so.
Well, that is even, that's the thing about the, comics are always talking about freedom and being, different, but everybody's forced into the same time if they go on, the same 6 minutes if you're doing the Tonight Show, same 60 minutes if you're doing, you're still getting into a box no matter what you're doing.
They're, I mean, Hollywood always stereotypes, always, and they don't, and many of the, the gatekeepers in the industry, they don't have the creativity to see people in different ways. They have an idea of what this is. Like if I pitched this to a company and said, hey, this is the way I want to do it,
right.
I don't think it would have been greenlit.
You don't even have to think that. It would not have been. Because like
I actually Showtime, I know someone who works at Showtime, and when I was like putting out some feelers there, I was like, hey, I made my own special. Let me know if you're interested. And this is someone who I've known a little bit over the years. And, I had a paragraph of what it was about. And in the paragraph I mentioned, it's in black and white. I got like a 4-word email back. We don't accept black and white. And then it said, would you consider releasing it in color? And I was like, no. So that was the pitch to Showtime.
Yeah.
That was the pitch to Showtime. Yeah.
But that's also something
So I was like, wow, you won't even fucking look at it or consider it. It's just like, nope, okay, all right.
Because
they got their rules.
Yeah, they want them to kind of look the same, and they want them to look like...
Well, here's what it is. I think so much of it is it's just these giant corporations. People don't think, there's a trailer out for that Netflix put together. I had some say in it, because initially they made a cut. They don't consult with me first, and then, they make the trailer. Then I'm like, well, I think we should really put different material in there. And, there's music in the trailer. And I'm like, there's no music in this special at all. There's zero music. And you got this fucking music jamming throughout the trailer. I think you're kind of misleading people a little bit. And so I brought that up, and they're like, well, we've their tests or their studies show that this is what's effective. I'm like, all right, if you want to not argue with a person and argue with, just fucking weird data that you collected that probably makes no fucking sense. If that's the way you want to live, fucking go for it. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to fight you on that. You know? If you test market it must be 100% correct. You know. So. Well, I mean, that's what's even interesting about like Trump. You know, it's like if you look at the media, you know, everyone was saying, oh, well, he's definitely going to be falling off. You know, when he was running, the media thought there was no fucking way he had a chance because they didn't have the fucking test markets on what he was doing. He was doing shit that was different, you know, and same with Bernie even, you know, and those two guys really captured, you know, a lot of support, you know, whether you like them or not, they captured a lot of support and they did it in a different way. And, you know, just like, you know, so I think a lot of these corporations are behind, you know, they're not people. And yet they think they know what people want and how people work, and they fucking don't. You know, so I think that's one of the reasons you see a lot of garbage in show business. You know, you don't have individuals making decisions. Right. You have these giant corporations, and they get a sheet of a list of like, okay, this is what works. I'm like, no, that's not how fucking humanity works. You know, we're not just statistics. People have emotions, they have feelings. You know, so I don't know.
But
weird. You know?
All the people who work for major corporations are clapping right now. Yay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people should see it just the way that I saw it, just not expecting this thing to go down.
Then why are we talking all this shit about it right now?
That's a good point.
What the fuck's going on? What are we doing?
Let's just sit here for the rest of the show quietly.
Yeah, let's not say anything about it. Let's just say, check it out, but don't think much about it.
Yeah. Even the fact of it was so unique to me, and at the cellar, how many people were not Americans that were in the audience? Yeah,
most of the special was taped at the Cellar's 3 rooms on different nights, and you know, I usually do the early shows there actually, and I think the early shows are a little more international than some of the later shows, and I actually like it because I like, you know, as the world champion, you know, I like talking to people who are from all over the planet and giving my insight onto everything that's going on in the planet. You know, as the world champion, I represent the people of the world. Yeah. Not the corporations, but the people of the world. And I fight for their rights. That's what I do as the world champion.
That persona, how did that even come to that? How did you decide?
The world champion persona? Yeah. Well, that was a long sort of thing, and it's continued to change. You know, I've been making my own. Was my back too much to this crowd or something? What's that, sir? Quite all right. It's quite all right. Okay, then I'll just turn my back. You know. Yeah. Okay. Well, what was the question? I totally forgot. Oh, the world champion persona. Yeah. So, okay, so you got to go back, I think, to somewhere in the 90s. And I remember it seemed like all the comics were, not all the comics, but, you know, so many of the comics were just trying to bond with the audience. You know, like, hey, did you ever notice this? Or don't you hate this? And I'm like, I want to do the opposite. I don't want to bond with the audience. I want to do, you know, something like, so, and I've been making my own hats for like 20 years. I always thought it was like stupid. You fucking buy something that has the name of the company on it, so you paid them for that, and then you're giving them free advertising going around. I don't understand. I don't know why anyone would want to fucking do that, you know. But anyways, so I decided I'm going to make, and you know, my act was always very joke heavy, you know, and it was always very audience, you know, crowd work heavy. Yeah. And when I first started, it wasn't that heavy of a persona. I hadn't really figured that out yet. A lot of my stuff was being really young. I started doing stand-up in the city when I was 19, and you know, and I was kind of like a young-looking 19, so I was a lot younger than most of the people that were around. So a lot of my jokes were sort of like the new young kid, but doing twisted, dark shit. So I made a hat that said World Champion. I thought it would be funny if I made a hat that said World Champion, but not of what. And then that would get people to ask me questions. And I like doing crowd work. Are you like, what are the world champion of? And that would like get me to come up with jokes for that. And then I was really into like when I was a kid, I was really into the Guinness Book of World Records, and I used to try to like break all these world records. I tried to break the pogo stick record when I was 8 years old for just continuous pogo sticking without missing and just going. I did an hour straight when I was 8, and I think the record at the time was like 12 hours. And I was like, so I did an hour straight without missing. I'm 8, and I'm like, and I didn't get tired, but I was like, mentally, I was like, I really don't want to fucking do this anymore. This is really, it's like, I think I got this, but let's. The person who broke that record must really have nothing going on in their brain because it's really fucking boring to do that for 12 hours. So anyways, I was really into the Guinness Book of World Records. So I'd been writing these jokes about all these ridiculous athletic achievements I'd made. You know, like bowling a 300 with a golf ball and just all these ridiculous things. So the world champion kind of fit into that, this like super great athlete. And initially it started out as a sort of the dumb guy who thinks he's incredible with all these bragging things. And then it sort of morphed into becoming like, oh, these aren't bragging things. These are actually real, unbelievable things. So the world champion started becoming this real-life superhero that's like, not only am I not bragging, I'm actually just humbly stating these amazing things that I do, and I just can't relate that other people can't achieve the greatness that I achieve. And then, then I started doing like, a lot of stuff with martial arts in the jokes, and then sexual achievements during the jokes, and then it started, becoming kind of like sort of like a subliminal satire on narcissism. Like when MySpace was starting, Facebook was starting, everything's just me, 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 me. And even with athletes, so many athletes just being hot dogs, so it was really kind of a comment on that. And then, over the past, about 6 or 7 years ago, I started doing shows in Europe. And that's when I started, and I've always been really involved in human rights issues. And anytime just someone's being a fucking dick, I want to, speak up for me and other people, So I was doing shows in England. And you know how if you're in a bad relationship, you might not be able to see it, but all your friends can see it. And they're like, why the hell are you going out with that person? Yeah. They're horrible for you. And you're like, oh, no, I think they're pretty good. I think, just giving them excuses. So, but then a few years later, you're out of that relationship. Then you can look back and be like, oh, wow, that really was, that person treated me horribly. I should not have been with that person. So when I started doing shows in Europe, I started initially thinking, I'm going to learn a lot about these other countries. What I really learned more was about my own country because I was able to get some perspective and see it from a distance.
Yeah.
Just, basic things, I think in Europe people are a little more relaxed because they have health care. They don't have to fucking worry so much about shit. They don't have to do a fucking fundraiser and sell cupcakes to fucking, go to the doctor, So that got me more interested. I started getting more interested in, different, human rights issues and activism stuff. And so the world champion it's always morphing, but it's becoming more of someone who is, someone who's a superhero for all the people and the plants of the earth, because I could live on any planet I want, but I choose Earth, So I'm here to fight for you. That's what the world champion's all about.
But all that stuff is never preached. It's always through this ironic.
It's like I don't like telling people what to think. Mm-hmm. I'll tell people what I think, and I'll probably do it in a way where you might not even be sure what I think. You got to fucking think about what I just said because you may not fucking know. So, preachy stuff. It never. Yeah, in general, it just doesn't. Especially when you're preaching to people who already fucking agree with you. I find that to be the most boring thing there is.
Yeah.
I like when, you get people from all different walks of life and all different points of view.
And the special
makes things interesting.
Special is filled with that. It was amazing to me how because you don't see people crowd work people from other countries. It just doesn't happen.
Interesting. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about New York is that, it's an international city. It's a tourist city. And, a lot of comics hate the tourists. I'm like, I like them. I like meeting and dealing with people from all over the fucking country and the world. It gives you different things to learn and play off of.
Well, what brought you, at what age you came to New York? Young, right? Because you didn't grow up in the city. Right?
No, my dad grew up in Brooklyn, and I came here after high school. I don't know. I just kind of always wanted to live in New York.
Yeah.
I think if I was a kid now, I don't know if I would, because I don't know. It seems like the people who watch, who watch Sex and the City and who watch, whatever fucking, Friends, or, like, hey, let's move to New York. I'm like, wow, let me move somewhere else.
But I also think it's true. Like,
I would watch these movies. Yeah. I'd watch Serpico and be like, I want to fucking move to New York. This is great.
Yeah.
It's the Warriors. Yeah, let's fucking go right now. I want to go. Let's catch the train to Coney Island and fucking go, man. Give the Warriors some backup. I want to fucking do this.
I do think people.
It's like Fame. It's like, I want to dance with Leroy and fucking shut the streets down.
And they're not here now.
Fucking do flips on the street. It'll be fucking awesome. It's like, it's like Beach Street. It's like, let's do graffiti and just fucking breakdance all day and make some money doing that. And then, it'll be fucking great. Yeah.
So people do fall in love with the New York that they show up for, too. You know what I mean? Like when you get to New York, people say, oh, dude, you missed it. It used to be,
I don't know. What are people excited about New York now? Oh, wow. $8 donuts. Great. This is awesome. Ooh.
Yeah. But
$100 brunch. Great. So I don't know.
You fell in love with the New York, the New York City that used to draw in artists, that these people would be doing shows, whether they're painting or playing rock and roll or doing comedy for other New Yorkers.
Yeah, you used to live in New York. You used to everyone used to have if you had a window by the fire escape, you put some kind of a gate up or
right.
I know one guy who would put axle grease on the ledge so that if somebody tried to break in, they would slip and then fall 50 feet to their death.
Yeah.
He's like, don't waste your money on the fucking gate, dude. Just put some fucking axle grease on the ledge. Nobody's getting in. Trust me. I'm like, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. There was you were like, all right, I'm going to live cheaply in the fucking most dangerous neighborhood so that I can do what I want to do, whatever your dreams are, and it was that kind of a place, and now it's like the how expensive the city has gotten has become more oppressive than the crime was.
Sure. Yeah, there is some truth to that.
It's harder to do art in the city where it's just so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah,
but I used to come up to New York in the early 80s. I remember coming up here in 81 and, me and my brother going to Playland in Times Square, which was, they had 3 of them. It was 24-hour video game arcade where you just, and that was exciting because you'd be playing Pac-Man and, people are stacking their quarters on there, which means they're going to get the next game. People are bumping into you. You don't know if you're going to get robbed. It just made fucking video games really exciting.
Yeah. Back when
now everyone just has the safety of their homes or over the internet. No, back then you had to worry about getting stabbed, robbed, and people just fucking bumping you on purpose so you fuck up during the game. It was great. Wouldn't have it any other way. It's fucking great.
But it is still a dangerous city in the way that, you could break your ankle and end up losing your apartment if you miss, your rent immediately. Now, the whole thing, people sit, instead of being worried about being robbed, they're like, am I being robbed every time I order dinner here? Is it
right,
so
yeah,
expensive?
no, it's corporate theft or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I've lived here since '87, and it's I haven't had an apartment in 6 weeks. I'm not living anywhere right now. I've always rented. I'm trying to buy. It's taken a while, so I'm doing 2 to 3 weeks in town in cheap hotels in Queens, and then I'm on the road a week or two. But it's weird. I don't know how to live in this city anymore. Well, I still like it. Yeah. I still love it, but I don't know. I don't want to fight for it, but I don't know how to live it anymore.
This is literally my first homeless interview. I've always, I wanted to do more hard-hitting journalism. So we're doing it.
Sometimes people rip on me and they say you look homeless, and now I can be like, I am technically. I'm technically homeless. I mean, I'm lucky. I have some money so I can get in hotels, but so I'll find a place one of these days. But I literally don't know where the fuck to live in this city. Yeah.
It is completely
because when I'm in town, I do multiple shows every night, and then I often have to do things in the city during the day. So if I live far out, if I live an hour out in the Queens, which I used to do, I have to come in during the day, go back home, then come in again at night, and sometimes I have to commute 2 or 3 times a day, and it's too much. It's like 6 hours, So I don't know.
And you haven't thought to yourself, hey, I'll leave, I'll go somewhere
I've thought
else.
that before, but I'm not really sure where I would go.
Unfortunately, everywhere you go looks like Brooklyn now when you go out to eat. No matter where you go, they're like, oh, they have that. What do they call it when there's like stuff? The Edison bulbs are every fucking where.
What is that? I don't know.
It's like a bulb just hanging down. There's nothing on it, and it used to be.
That's like a cool look.
Yeah, and it used to be people in Brooklyn, they couldn't afford any shades, and they're like, we'll just put these up. And now people are like, okay, let's
interesting.
do that.
Well, I think the cities across the nation are all getting much more expensive and more populated. I think the young people, like the people under 30 who, generally the higher educated and the higher income earning, they don't want that suburban life. They want to live in the city. They want to go out and eat every night. They want to party. They want to, so all the cities are getting, people are getting pushed out who've been in the cities for a long time. And, so it's weird.
It is, and remember when we were younger, people were leaving the cities.
You're right. In the 70s, I think New York lost like 1 million people. They just got the fuck out.
Yeah.
And now more and more keep coming.
But
they're not building things for the community. Like, I was in Long Island City, they must have 20 skyscrapers now. I still don't think there's a grocery store.
Right, yes, that's true.
It's like...
But that is true. You look at Long Island City, and it's got a bigger skyline than cities that have football teams.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell is going on?
And they still have the same amount of subway access. So it's like, I took the L train the other day in Williamsburg. I get off the L train, not even during rush hour. There was a wait just to leave the station. There was a wait to get to the stairs to walk up. And I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. The infrastructure isn't supporting it.
Roosevelt Island is now the 10th biggest city in America. I don't know how that happened.
I call Roosevelt Island the 6th borough. No, that island gets no respect. Any place where you have to take a bucket to get there, you gotta... literally a sky bucket to get to it. I just think that's awesome.
Yes, it's daring.
There's one train and a bucket,
I love the fact that you just keep holding on to being an individual. Like you said, some people tease you about your look, but that's a look that you've chose.
Yeah, no, I remember someone saying to me, why don't you cut your hair? You're never going to get on Friends. And I was like, I don't want to be on Friends. No offense to anyone who's on Friends. I don't know. Could be very
somewhere
nice people.
Jennifer Aniston is crying.
No. She might be crying. I don't know, but hopefully she feels better. She'll survive. But what were we talking about?
Well, we were basically about your look.
That's one of the reasons why I do a lot of crowd work, is because I often just fucking forget shit. So then I just improvise.
And you jump into the next person. Hey.
Yeah, because there's some comics who'll do, like when they're doing an hour, they do the exact same thing from, it's like they have a list of jokes and just fucking goes through it. I don't know. I like to be more instinctual, I guess, because I think even for the audience, it's like, you don't want to see the exact same presentation. It's like, it's a live show. It should be different than what you're seeing on TV or whatever.
I thought of this when because I saw you do so many sets last year, and I stayed for all your sets because you always kill me, but then I didn't see that material in the special. There was so much stuff in the special.
Well, then you got to tell me what stuff is not in there so I can put that in the next one. So. No, I forget a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Well, you brought up your look and not getting on Friends, but from your acting career, you've done more projects, I think, than a lot of people who just focus on acting and nothing else.
Yeah,
you've done a lot of stuff.
I haven't done a lot recently, but I used to do a lot. And like I said, I like filmmaking. I used to do animation when I was a kid. I do clay animation, drawing animation, and I think filmmaking is an interesting art form. I think it's usually not an art form the way people do it. I mean, there's most movies stink, and really bad dialogue and just horrible, But I like interesting, weird, or even not, they may not be weird, but just interesting, quality movies. I like them. But so I used to do a fair amount, and I've done some terrible movies, and I was lucky to be in some very good movies. And I would completely change my look. Like some people might see me, hey, you ever take the hat off, whatever? I'm like, yeah, I have. And here's 10 movies where I fucking had no hat and had short hair and, had an accent and, but, yeah, so I like doing that. I think doing things in different art forms stand-up's always my main thing, but when you get into different art forms, they can all kind of feed each other, I think, and, you can grow. Like radio, I fucking love doing radio, stand-up is different. Stand-up is, at least for me and my philosophy on it, it's almost like a highlight reel where you have to have big laughs about
all the time,
3 seconds or so, but in this medium that we're doing right now, you can go a few minutes without laughing, and and people will still be there listening. You can get serious, you can get funny, and it's got different ebbs and flows that stand up really doesn't have.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't want to be doing stand up where there's 5 minutes without any laughs. I wouldn't.
No,
I don't care what the fuck I'm talking about. How important it is. I'm not going to put that in a stand up act. That another medium that can be in, but not stand up.
But you think of so many things as art, which a lot of performers don't anymore, whether it is film or stand-up or anything.
And I don't mean that in a pretentious way. Like when you say, oh, I'm art, that could be, depending on if you're pretentious or not, that could be fucking pretentious, but it really shouldn't be a pretentious statement. It's really just looks like, it's really just about like, look, this is a job, and I'm trying to do this, and that's all it is. There's no business behind it. When I say this is my art, there's no business. I'm just trying to do the best work I can in what this is, and I'm not thinking about career. I'm not thinking about, is somebody going to buy this? I'm just thinking about me and the audience, and that's it. So the audience is really, in stand-up, the audience is a mix of the recipient as well as judge and as well as partner, really.
Yes.
There's no stand-up without an audience.
Yeah.
I sometimes worry that live stand-up's going to go away, and it's just going to be internet comedians. It's just going to be, people talking their cameras. But that would be fucking horrible. But,
yes. Yeah. But there is something about being out, and having, like, you're always, when you see a special or comedy on TV, it's always a generation or two back. It's not the same as being there that night,
No, it's not the same. No, and that was what I was trying to do with this, was make it as much as I could. Just it's like you're there that night. Checking things out. So
it's incredibly, because I brought up the visuals of this thing, but the content is incredibly funny. It's killer all the way through it.
Just keep talking. You're on a roll. That's right. Just do more of that, and I think that's what we need. That's just awesome.
But I think one of the reasons was because you had total control. Somebody wasn't telling you, here's how we're presenting this. I think even when that happens, it takes out of the art.
I think it's also, it's hard with stand-up because, when you put in a camera, sometimes people you don't want to be too invasive with the cameras, because then you don't want the audience to always be thinking, oh, there's a camera there.
Yeah.
You want them just to be not thinking about anything, just wrapped up in the show, So I had ideas initially for like different angles, but I think they were too invasive of the audience.
I saw somebody recently put together a Tonight Show set, and I saw them at different clubs, and I felt like, I don't know. I think they should throw this out and kind of come up with a new idea. And by the time they got to the Tonight Show, it was the same jokes, and the audience was going crazy. And I think a lot of that has to be the Tonight Show audience wants to be a great TV audience. You know what I mean? So they were applauding.
When you watch comedy on TV, you hear people applauding. You generally don't hear people laughing.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, yep, he did that. He did the Trump, he's got an orange face joke. Yep, let's applaud for that. Or, whatever fucking line there is, or obvious kind of thing. It's almost like cheering. It's like those late night TV monologue jokes. Some are great, but a lot are just this. It's just this formulaic. It's like, hey, I noticed the twist there, so yep, let's applaud that.
Yes.
We saw the twist. So it's, I don't know. I quit trying to do stand up on TV about 15 years ago. I've done it a few times, but it's just, I don't know. I find showbiz just gives so little respect towards stand-up so many times, and
Sure.
maybe things have changed a little bit now. I don't know. 'Cause like I said, I haven't even tried, but let's say the show, whatever talk show it is, they want you to do stand-up. They're like, hey, we're going to have you on, and now you have to go through this process, and sometimes it's months of tweaking your act, and it's like. They don't do that with bands,
Sure.
They don't hire a band on the show and then have someone follow them around and switch the riffs around
Yeah.
and the lyrics around.
It is true. I've never thought of that.
But with comics and jokes, they do that all the fucking time. And I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. You don't know anything about stand-up, and you don't know anything about my stand-up. It's like stand-up is not. To me, it's an individual art form. So that which goes back to the conformity, not fitting in or whatever. It's like. I don't fit in any clique. I'm not in. Sometimes people might think I'm in a clique, but I'm not in any clique, and I'm fine with that. And I realize it can be very lonely, it can be depressing, but that's what it is.
Was that always in your life, even when you were a kid?
I was always a loner and an outcast. I was never in any kind of clique or whatever, and I was always made fun of for looks or whatever, or But that's just the way it is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what percentage of people are assholes. I think it's pretty high. And I don't know what percentage of people are good. That might be kind of high too. But the assholes, I think, are often louder than the people who are good. So I think more people who are good need to maybe get a little more active and speak up a little bit, because if you're just quiet, the fucking assholes get the power.
Yeah.
Like example, I was on the subway. This is like 2 months ago. I'm on the subway. Some crazy guy comes on, and it's just nonstop yelling at the top of his lungs about Jesus and the Bible. The train is body-to-body people. Nobody fucking wanted to hear this. Does anyone tell him to shut up? Nope. Everyone just ignores, and then he gets to do whatever he wants. And that shows you that there's no such thing as majority rule. Majority rule is a myth, That's minority. He's one fucking guy on a train of 200 people, and he was the fucking king.
Yeah, right.
He was the king. He got his way. No one else got their way. And yet the majority theoretically should have the power, So, and that's.
Yeah, and that's kind of, in a weird way, the business.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a couple people get to the top and they decide this is the way we want
Well,
this
that's the
to
whole
run.
thing. Like, when people say in, like, showbiz, they believe the cream rises to the top. It's like, no, it doesn't. That's bullshit. This isn't sports. When Usain Bolt wins the 100-meter dash or whatever, he's probably the fastest fucking guy. It's not because, he hung out with the fucking Olympic Committee president or something. He was probably just the fastest fucking guy, And in showbiz, there's so much gray area. So there's, that's why you see shitty stuff go up. And, so, I mean, sometimes it works out. Yeah, sometimes quality stuff does rise to the top, but there's a lot of times it doesn't.
I was just actually thinking is that if you were Usain Bolt, you'd probably be running 91 meters or 107 meters. But I'm not doing just 100.
I didn't want to mention this, but when there was a marathon, I didn't mean to run the marathon, but I just wanted to do some errands. And I wound up winning the marathon, and before I left, I turned on the 100-meter race with Usain Bolt, and when I got back from the marathon, he was just finishing. He was just finishing the question. Just finishing.
He's the world champion.
Yeah.
Do you think if you didn't have the success that you've had, you'd still be doing this, or would you stay?
You talking athletically? Or
I meant comedically. Athletically, you're always going to have success.
I still feel like I'm in the Rocky 1 phase of my career.
Yeah.
I still feel like I haven't been given the title shot yet, because most people know me. I think more and more people have been knowing me from stand-up, but more know me from different acting things that I've done. And those, I almost always took those acting things to try to help my stand-up career, and then, I think not releasing stand-up products before has, inhibited the, career-wise, not creatively-wise, but career-wise, so hopefully, I just hope a lot of people see this, and then they do whatever they want with it, But I think whenever you're an artist or performer, you just want as many people as you can to see it, and hopefully they'll enjoy it.
Well, I do know this. Anyone who's funny thinks that you're hilarious. I mean,
That's good, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I sometimes have no idea what people think or judge me as. So I sometimes just don't know, and I just try to do my thing, and just work as hard as I can and progress and always work on new stuff as much as I can and just leave it at that, really, because like I hate show business. I don't like show business at all. Lot of phonies, a lot of bullshit, a lot of people who don't fucking know anything or don't care really, and then so I just try to, if you just focus on the art of it, then you're going to have less problems, I think,
Well, I know when Attell put together that show of his that he shot for Comedy Central, and he brought you into that. I know how.
Oh, that was the Comedy Underground.
Yeah, the Comedy Underground.
I like that.
And I know how fond of you that he was. Like the whole time that we did an interview, and the whole time you were talking, he's falling out. And I'm like, there's one of the funniest human beings I've
great!
ever seen.
Dave's a legend. I love Dave.
And he's crazy about you.
Oh, that's cool. No, Dave's great. Always been super kind to me. Mm-hmm. Very, very good dude. Nice guy. And one of the greats in my opinion. I don't rank people, but one of the greats.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal, joke writer and attitude and everything. I mean, phenomenal.
And that was a show that he did where he shot things differently and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did. And it didn't get picked up, that show. I thought it was great. Didn't get picked up.
And I talked to a TV producer, and they were like, I hated the way that show was shot. And I go, that was one of my favorite things about that show.
Yeah.
Is that somebody in the audience would just be holding a GoPro.
Right. Yeah, no, he gave them little. He had some people in the audience hold little cameras.
Yeah.
And they would cut to those angles sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Showbiz is weird, man. I don't know.
Well, even the books that you've done are very much yours. They don't, once again, come across as a book.
Right, right. No, my first book was an instructional karate book.
Yeah.
Called How to Beat Up Anybody. And,
How to Beat Up Anybody.
Yeah, very important book.
I always wonder how many kids went, oh, this is the book for me.
I hope a lot, but I don't know. I don't think that many people bought any of my books, but I think they came out well. And my other book was a book of drawings and cartoons. A lot of them were just funny and bizarre, and then a lot of them were sort of like satire on corporatization of America and racism, sexism, different things. So,
and tell people the name of that book.
Oh, that's If the Raindrops United.
If the Raindrops United. And on the cover is just this giant raindrop coming down on a city. But the message is there.
If people get together, you can have some power. It could be used for good or for evil, but you can at least have power.
Yeah. Were you surprised when you ended up working for 30 Rock at NBC? Was that a shock for you?
I never planned on doing a sitcom. Never planned on it. And, I also like doing different things and not doing the same thing over and over again. The idea of having playing the same character for a long time gave me a lot of anxiety. Work took me out to L.A. for 2 years in the early 2000s. And shortly after I got back, I got the audition for 30 Rock. And when that happened, I was like, well, it's Tina Fey's writing it. Because sometimes when they do sitcoms, they'll get high-paid, theoretically better quality writers the first season, and then after it gets successful, they just fucking get cheap and bring in another. At least that's what I was told. So, but I figure, all right, well, Tina's really good, and she's starring in it, so she's not going to quit writing it. So the writing should stay solid, And I filmed in New York, and I was like, I'll fucking going on this, And at the same time, there was another show that Aaron Sorkin was producing called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which was a dramatic look at a live TV sketch comedy show. And they wanted me to, and I read the script, and I thought dramatically it was good. I thought comedically it was not good. And I didn't even want to audition for it. And then the agent sort of like convinced me to go in on it. And I did, and they wound up offering me a recurring role, where 30 Rock was a regular role. And a lot of people were telling me to go with the Aaron Sorkin one because that's going to be the really good one. And I'm like, no, I want to I'll go for the other one. So, and then a few years later, at one of the Emmy things, I ran into Aaron Sorkin. I didn't even know who it was at first. He came up to me, shook my hand, and said, "Boy, did you make the right decision." So I actually thought, I was like, oh, wow, that was pretty cool. So that was like my one interaction with him. That was pretty cool.
I always think it's funny, too, because people will look at you like you're, an outsider and so strange. But then on that show that you're on, it's Tracy Morgan and Alec Baldwin are on it. So you come across as kind of a normal, regular guy.
Yeah, Frank was a weird character because he was very kind of like just like a blue-collar, regular kind of guy. But then he also was just very malleable, Like, I remember there was one episode where Tina's character, Liz Lemon, had to leave, and so I kind of became the head writer, and then I just started physically morphing into Liz Lemon. I had it's like Frank almost had no backbone. He was like, he viewed himself as this rebel guy, but really he was a total fucking wimp who could just be molded into anything, Like I wanted to become a corporate lawyer one episode. And then one episode I turned gay for one guy for one episode. It's like, so Frank was really kind of weird. He was like this sort of normal guy. We were like, wow, maybe he really is fucking weird underneath, But, yeah, it was a fun character to play. And then some people sometimes think my stand-up act's going to be just like the Frank was. I'm like, no, it's actually quite a bit. I'm like, we look similar, but it's quite a bit different.
And you never use that, like when you go on stage, you never kind of use the things that you've done before. A lot of people go, okay, well, they would bring up American Splendor and thing, but you just kind of walk up and do your thing.
It's its own thing, It has nothing to do with any, those TV or movie things, Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To be stand-up's the most fun, It's just, like I said, you just fucking walk on stage, That's it. It's live. No filming can be a very monotonous, repetitive business, I mean, editing this stand-up special I did was really a lot of anxiety.
Months and months, right?
Yeah. And I have OCD too, so it's like when you have to like make a cut, it's like, it's mentally can be really fucking hard, and I'll just keep changing things a couple frames at a time. Then after a while, I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? I got to walk away from this.
Yeah.
I'm doing too much.
But OCD is something that you deal with all the time?
It goes through phases, you know. So, but it can be, it can be good for some things too, actually. And even ADD, I have some of that too. That can be good too.
Yeah.
For crowd work, ADD is actually good. You're like, wow, you didn't do any jokes, you just did crowd work. I'm, I can't fucking focus or remember any of my jokes, so I'm going to just fucking play off the crowd.
There's always an interesting thing with guys who do crowd work is that there's some audiences that are kind of meek and there's no kind of alphas in it that want to talk, and a lot of guys will be turned up. But that, for you love that kind of weird little lulls that take place.
Because I like a challenge, and I like finding comedy in places you wouldn't think they're at. So I like doing that, So, I mean, that's why I like it. In this special, I talk a lot about a lot of human rights issues, racism, classism, sexism. But, I do it in a way, like you said, that it's not preachy, but I like finding, I've always liked doing dark, twisted stuff. And, when you're talking about white supremacy, mass incarceration, to get humor out of there is like, that's not the easiest thing to do, technically,
Right.
But when I can get to that point and do it, I like, and especially, and not in a preachy way, just a fucking bizarre, twisted way. I like doing that. I don't like the easy joke. I like, let's say like there's a real heavy guy in the audience and he heckles. When I slam him back, the last thing I'm going to do is do any like fat jokes or anything like that. I don't ever like to go for the easy stuff. I always like to find some angle that hasn't been, gone to before.
And also, if anyone tries to kiss up to you, you turn that on them as well.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
I always do like a mix of just absolutely just obliterating people.
Yeah.
And praising them too. And sometimes I'll do like a mix.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
Just changing the mood of the room. One of the things that you always seem like you just whatever your mood you're in, we're taking you into another direction.
Yeah, well, sometimes also, like I love it. I love when you host here. You're a great host. But sometimes in the city, seriously,
Stop
fucking
it,
great
stop
host. Seriously.
Stop
Fucking
it.
great. No.
Stop it.
No, when you host here at the Stand,
Yeah.
First of all, I love doing your radio show, and I just, some people make you smile in life. You're one of those people. You make me smile. You have a warmth to you, and it comes out. And I'm just fucking telling you how I feel.
Keep going.
So,
You're smart.
So, and as a host, that stuff is infectious,
Yeah.
and you, between acts, you take your time. There's so many hosts up there, and when they're hosting and, bring it back, it really seems like they're in some kind of competition to bring the next act up as fast as possible and to be on stage for as little as time as possible. Like sometimes they'll be like, hey, Judah, the show's running a little late, so I'm going to bring up it real quick. I'm like, no, fucking let the audience resettle, regroup, and say my name. Don't just go up there and scream my name as fast as you can. You're not fucking helping anything there. So sometimes when there's shitty hosts, you have to go up there and for the first 2 minutes be your own host and recreate and refocus the audience. So I do that sometimes.
Well, I think that a lot of times it happens in comedy now that we forget it's a whole show for the audience. Everybody thinks it's just their segment.
No, I grew up playing sports. I was a big soccer guy, and when you play team sports, you really kind of you can see, I think it can help you see the bigger picture.
Right.
And, and even in humanity, everyone here, we all got our own worlds, we all got our own problems. Everyone, you're all a little part of something bigger. And if everyone can do just something a little bit better, no matter what it is, that can make everyone else a little bit better.
You still love soccer, too. I know you did.
Soccer and ping pong are my two sports. Those are my two sports.
And
I love all sports, but those are the two that I play.
By the way, for all the world champion stuff, you should see this dude play ping pong.
I'm actually better at soccer. For real, better at soccer.
Now I got to see that.
I'm telling you, the world champion is real. Okay? Now, on this special, on the title, it doesn't say world champion, and that's because I respect the audience, and I respect their smarts and their education to know that I am a great athlete and I'm still the world champion. So it doesn't need to be said. It's understood.
It is understood.
It's understood. Like people know. that I'm the world champion still. Yeah,
but
undefeated.
But to get back to what he expects out of the audience and where his material, the special opens up. He's just on stage, and you're talking about gentrification, but then comparing it to your own beard, and it's one of the funniest. It's one of the funniest things I
fucking told him the joke, right?
But it's one of the it's one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. But isn't it weird to know that the fact that we have these younger people that we kind of raised not to be racist, that we've chased more people of color out of the city than because moving into the neighborhoods.
It's very, it's bizarre and weird, and there's. Racism is such a loaded and big issue, but the idea that only your low income Southern white people are the racists is just one of the biggest myths out there.
Right.
It's bigotry exists in all kinds of levels and everywhere. I have a new joke. It's not in the in this special, but where I say Republicans are racist, Democrats are racist, racism. It doesn't discriminate. So, it's part of the fabric that is woven throughout our country and throughout the world, and I know so it's something you got to, fight against. But, you're 100% right on that hypocrisy.
It just keeps, it's a daily thing, man. It's a daily thing. I got to tell you, the special comes out on Netflix, and, I'm not kidding when I think this is one of the finest stand-ups I've ever seen. I'm always watching it. But I did not think the special would be accepted anywhere. And I thought that all winter. And again, you're such a unique guy. And this is the way I kind of think of Judah when I see you off going stuff. You ever see like a painter who'll have like a nice jacket on, but then there's little flecks of paint because he can't stop painting. That's the way I see Judah with comedy. There's always little flecks of comedy all over you, no matter what you're doing.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I wish you all the luck with this special, dude.
Thanks
you
so
deserve
much,
it.
and thanks for the kind words. And yeah, I just hope hope people dig it and hope people watch it. And if you do watch it and like it, write this will help me. Write a little comment or review on the Netflix thing saying you liked it. You know?
All right.
If you didn't like it, don't fucking write anything.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Keep that shit to yourself, man.
All right, the show is called Unmasked, and once we took off the mask, we found out this is the world champion, ladies and gentlemen, Judah Friedlander.
Thank you for the love, everybody. Ron, thanks so much. Love you, buddy.
Bravo! Love you. Bravo, Judah.
Come back.
That was Unmasked with Judah Friedlanders. We're doing a first responders content. You can tweet at Bennington Show and at Judah World Champ. You can go to the Bennington Twitter and, we'll have it all up there. But the best tweet will win the signed Judah poster, which you can go view on the Bennington Twitter. Very, very cool Unmasked, though, right? Everything.
It was awesome, and it's so great because honestly, like since the moment I met Judah, immediately I just thought he was such a smart, interesting, funny guy. But this is such a look into his mind. It was one of my favorites.
Well, because of I think 30 Rock and some of the acting choices, and the big hat and all. People are like, oh, I know him. He's the goofy dude, probably the stoner. His material is very, very smart.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to do a little work. But when you hear the guy behind that material, he's just fantastic. I just love Judah.
Me too. I'm such a huge fan.
First responders, Chris.
Tweet at Bennington Show and at Judah World Champ for a chance to win the signed Unmasked poster of Judah Friedlander.
Be a first responder. Get out there. And thanks so much for listening today and every day. And we'll see you again.
In 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!